Right. I'll I'll intro us in, if that's all right with everyone.
I hope you got big fanfare for the 100.
I'll I'll do something. I'll think of something.
Benny, bring me everyone.
What do you mean, everyone?
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
Barry Manilow know that you raid his wardrobe?
Let me explain something to you. I am not Mr. Lebowski. You're Mr. Lebowski. I'm the dude.
No one is to stone anyone until I blow this whistle.
You can't fight in here. This is the war room.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Welcome to the Zedos Game Podcast, 100. We made it after 2.5 years. I don't know how long it's been, but it's been a while. Yeah, I don't think we get this far. And yes, we're joining me as a whole plethora of people. Namely, you got you got someone in the Enterprise. Sorry,
it's not the Enterprise, it's the Voyager, for fuck's sake.
Voyager.
It's only because I couldn't find a decent picture of the Enterprise in decent enough resolution. But someone I think you'll find, okay, is my name's Leo van-dammage. Thank you very much. Next.
Okay, and also we have Mr. Kenan. How are we doing today, sir? Thank you.
I'm good. Howdy, listeners.
Yeah, and also we have Salmon. We haven't had him in a podcast for a while. How have you been, mate?
I'm good. It's been a while, and I'm glad to be back.
Yeah, good to have you in, man. Good to have you in for the 100th. And last but not least, Neil. Actually, no, we haven't even done Sach yet. We've got Neil.
He's always there.
Where is Sach?
Are you going to leave Sach to the end?
Where is Sach, anyway? I can't see him on the screen. Oh, there
Yeah,
you go.
hi,
Right,
Sach.
right, okay, good.
Hey.
Sorry, I just jumped from Neil to Sach. Neil, say hello.
Wearing his commuter headphones.
Hey.
Okay, and last but not least, Sach, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. How are you guys?
Not bad. Still surviving this pandemic and everything else that goes with it.
Oh, don't even get me started, man. I've been extremely vocal, as some of you. Neil knows what's up. He's seen me being vocal as fuck. But for the most part, you've agreed, right? And I'm not going to really go much into it. All I'm going to say is lift the lockdown, because apparently, fucking for 10 weeks, we've all been like, oh, save the NHS. But dickheads are out in the street protesting, and all of a sudden it's like, no, they're fine.
Well, I'm just like, in my head, all I'll say on it is I'm just like, let the next 2 weeks roll around. And if there's a big old spike, then, well, hey, we now know.
Told you so. Told you so, exactly.
Then we know. Either way, we're going to know.
Enough of that. We can quickly segue into the first topic, and which is Sach. I haven't gotten the topics up, so you got to help me out here, dude.
Trying to speed us up because he does want to pay for the Zoom meeting.
Hey, we're on Zoom Pro, man. We're on Zoom Pro. No time limits.
Nice.
No time limits.
Okay, so Ridley Scott has been talking Alien franchise again. He still has a desire to do 8 more movies. I don't know. The guy's old as fuck, and I got to rate him. He's surviving quite long, making all these long movies, directing. But yeah, he's still talking 8 films. He's still saying that he has a desire to go back, and he expects to start work on the 3rd or maybe his 4th film soon.
Soon. I'll jump into that.
And more flute playing, guys.
I think he wants to finish his prequel trilogy, or David trilogy, as I'll call it now, and backdoor into Alien. I think he's always said that the alien's cooked, the beast is cooked, meaning that it can't scare you anymore because we all know what it looks like. So therefore, he's exploring different areas in that universe that he's always wanted to, or he would like to. And I don't think he wants to do 8 films particularly himself. I just think it's Disney's property now, so I think they'll allow him to do his last one and then hand it off to someone else, just like they did with Star Wars, and then it'll be unwatchable.
I actually think
Unwatchable, did you say?
No, because Disney own it now. So
Completely unwatchable.
who the hell knows what Disney's going to do with it? it's
I
gonna.
don't know. I don't know. I just want to apologize, by the way. I keep moving up and down and like adjusting my camera, but I really don't want people to see what my face looks like when I wank. So like the image, because that's what we can see from Salmon, isn't it? Any girl that's ever been underneath him.
Jesus.
Say something, Salmon, so you pop up on our stream so we can see it.
We were all thinking.
If you guys want to see everyone at the same time, just switch your view to gallery view. Should be in the top
How the
right of
fuck
your
do I do
screen.
that?
So you hover over the screen or something, and then you should be able to change your view from speaker view to gallery view, and you can see everyone at the same time.
Oh yeah, cool. Oh, okay, got it. Nice. Hey, Salmon.
How you doing?
Yeah. So anyway, what were you? So it's going to be unwatchable, did you say? So they're not going to. Do you think Disney's ever going to bring it out? Or
I think they'll allow Ridley Scott to finish what he started with his again with Lucas and his in Star Wars.
No, they didn't allow Lucas shit, man. I think that's public knowledge now. They're like, here are some ideas. Here's the bin.
No, I mean when Lucas had control of his company. So basically, Ridley Scott will do his last film, which will be wherever David's going off to. I'm guessing it's LV-46, and
I thought that last time, Joe.
I think everybody.
Say again?
I thought that last time. You know what? When I saw Prometheus, I was like, yeah, I can't wait. It's going to be her with his head. Just hunting down and maybe being stalked by aliens or whatnot. And I didn't get that movie. I got something completely different with flutes. And robots.
Well, yeah.
I was that funny guy
bit,
from comedy movies. That was actually all right. But, you know.
There was that one bit when she attacks him, though, isn't it? Yeah, when David attacks Walt, and I was like, "Damn, son."
Yeah. What were our thoughts on what was it called? Alien Covenant. Yeah. It was all right. It didn't make me go wow. There was no aliens.
Those two films, I can't separate them. When I think about them, I couldn't tell you what happened in one. I know in the last one there was that weird flute scene, and then. You know what? But then, the rest of it is really hard for me to separate. I mean, look, I'm not the biggest Alien fan. I know there's, a lot of people is in their top movies of all time. Mm-hmm. We've been doing this post on Facebook recently, like movies that really matter to you. Alien hasn't been in my consideration.
What?
So I came late to the party. It wasn't something I watched when I was a lot younger.
You need to rewatch.
I went back and watched them, and they're good movies, but they didn't have the impact on me because I'm just guessing the time I watched them.
Yeah.
The thing that excited me was Neil Blomkamp. When he was going to do that reboot.
Yes,
that's what I was interested in. I was like, this is a talented director. He was adding Sigourney Weaver on board. It was going to be this whole other thing, and now that's not happening. And so, do I want to see more of the last two movies? Not particularly. Are they going to give him the money to do it? Disney didn't perform necessarily at the box office, so I'm not even sure he's going to get to do what he wants.
Maybe I don't think he's going to get to what he wants.
Movie and somebody else come in and direct it, but for him to direct and produce, I think it's too arty and not blockbuster enough for what they needed to be. That's how I see the last films.
Yeah,
really well made films, but didn't bring in the buck, and that's what Disney do now. That is Disney profile. How is it going to make the money? They're going to have separate divisions. Because they'll still have Fox, I don't know, the Searchlight or whatever they're going to be calling that now. I think they're just calling it Searchlight films.
Fox.
That
Searchlight.
doesn't fit under that umbrella either, because it's too high budget. So I'm not sure where this is going to sit.
I think that what they're
that's why they got 20th Century Studios.
Yeah.
Because if you watch the Call of the Wild movie with Harrison Ford in, it's under the 20th Century Studios banner, not the Disney banner. So I think that's what they're going to use going forward with those kind of films and I think that's where Alien and Predator kind of fit directly under. Speaking of Ridley Scott, he's actually working on a film for Disney, which has been a pet project of who's the boss of Disney, Bob Iger. Bob Iger. Yeah, he's one of Bob Iger's pet projects, basically. So I think it's a scratch my back, you scratch mine situation going on there. So Ridley's a smart guy because he made this deal before the shit got bought, and he's been championing the Alien thing since then. So he seems pretty adamant on 8 films. Whether he gets 8 films, I don't know.
Think it's the 8-film thing. I think it's basically him trying to sell. I think it's just trying to get the people just like maybe a little support for him, so he can get at least 1 or 2 out of it, or at least have somebody else do something for him. But I don't think anybody will give in any money for 8 films. Yeah, and that's. I mean, nobody has been able to ever do that. And I think Neil was about to say something. As well.
The thing is, I had a few points on this. One, in regards to the whole kind of like what Disney will allow to happen and not. I think we all kind of have this kind of problematic view of Disney, and that problematic view is that it's like you think of Disney, you think of children. That's true. They based their whole company on exploiting childhood. Or not exploiting childhood, but just
No, exploiting childhood is right. You got right in the head.
Company model was doing childhood, which is great. And they grabbed, when they made all their acquisitions, they grabbed the 2 main things that speak to children: Star Wars and Marvel. Those are the 2 things right now that are just children want that. If they could buy Peppa Pig, they'll buy it.
Yeah.
Right. But that said, Disney main focus is making money, and they're going to do whatever they need to do to make the money. They bought 20th Century Fox, and essentially they ain't really, like, from everything they've got. All right, yeah, we got the whole pandemic and people can't move as freely as they want to and do the things that they want to, but deep down the fact remains that they haven't really made any big, drastic, shocking changes since buying it. All they did was they got it, and they were like, well, guess what? Now we're going to throw a whole bunch of the stuff that we find adequate on Disney Plus. And that's really what they do. I think what they're more likely to do more than anything is have, like you said, they've got 20th Century Studios, all their R-rated stuff, R-rated or NC-17, anything that's got to be above, anything that's going to have basically 1 fucking 2 shits in it is going on there. And I don't think that they're going to apply the same business model of, can you make it kid friendly? Can you do this? They're not going to apply that to those type of things, because they're like, we own this, but we're not going to push it to you with the same mindset of we own this. And more importantly, the thing we have to remember is Disney is Buena Vista. Buena Vista is partly the reason that we have films like Desperado and Quentin Tarantino's back catalog, and there's a lot of Thelma and Louise. There's a lot of films that are have bad language, have violence, all of these things in it that distributed through Buena Vista. Buena Vista's logo is the Disney castles.
Yeah. That's true. But you guys have to understand. Yeah, you guys also understand that Disney is competing with Comcast. So if you sit back and look at it, Disney and Comcast is divvying up the whole world, essentially, buying out everything they can, possibly. I mean, we lost Sky to Comcast as well, right? So they will shove in as they can probably see what the market allows them. Like, you're right about the fact that they will shove in R-rated movies into one umbrella, Disney child-friendly movies under Disney umbrella, and all of that. But more or less, what they're trying to do at this moment in time is trying to compete with Comcast and beat them. I mean, they've bought everything. I mean, literally everything. And Comcast owns the rest of it.
Yeah, but the only other thing I was going to say, which was my other point, which was directly for Ridley Scott making these movies, he said it himself. He said that, the alien is cooked. Like, everybody knows what it looks like. It's lost the kind of fear factor. That's not to say you can't bring it back, because, I mean, look, everybody knows what Tim Curry looks like as Pennywise. You switched it up a bit and you got 2 very good horror films. So it's not that it can't be done. I just don't think he's the guy to do it. Not because he's a bad director, because he obviously ain't. But I think right now, when you're tackling really kind of old properties and you're really trying to milk the life out of them, one of the best ways to get that new life out of them is getting someone young, fresh. Yeah, make sure that they have a knowledge and understanding and appreciation for what came before, but you need fresh ideas. You know, innovation isn't made by older heads.
I'll say this, right? I've got all of the Alien films back to back online at the moment. What made the most out of all of the films in the Alien franchise, do you think?
What do I think made the most?
Yeah.
Probably 3.
I'd probably say either Aliens or Prometheus.
Prometheus. That's made the most.
Yeah.
By far.
But that's the thing, is you when you think
Does that allow for rate of inflation?
It's not. It's but even if you put Prometheus is the one that's made the most out of all of them. In terms of inflation, I think it would be the first Alien that would hit the mark.
Closest to it.
Yeah, it's not accounting for that. But oh, hold on. No, it doesn't. But I think because Prometheus was a slow burn, because it stayed in cinemas from May till September.
Yeah.
And it kind of divided audience. It was a slow burn, but it made the most. And I think
I quite like that one.
Yeah, but there's one thing, like Sergio, one thing I would say about in regards to Prometheus, I think Prometheus made the most money, but I think there's kind of a theme or a reason behind that, because
he asked the film's asking a particular question and it backdoors into the freaking engineers and the aliens. And so I think what Ridley Scott's idea was in the first place was this is just a sci-fi film that backs. If they just left him alone, if Fox left him alone to do what he wanted to do, it would have just backdoored into Alien, and we would have had a big surprise in store in terms of watching the film. So, oh right, this is LV-46. This is the planet that all this happened on, and because Fox said, oh no, we need the alien in it, and so Alien Covenant had to bring elements of the alien back into it. His again, like with Lucas, he hasn't been able to do what he wanted to do, and now under Disney, I don't know what Disney are going to do with it, but if they, again with Neil Blomkamp's Alien 5, I didn't mind having Ripley back, but
wasn't it Alien 3? He wanted it to be. It was like immediately after Alien.
It'll be Aliens and Alien 3, but it's in chronological order. It'll be Alien 5, and so I would have liked Neil Blomkamp. I don't really trust Neil Blomkamp because I only like one of his films, but I would have liked him to.
Which one?
I won't go into it.
But, just tell me. Fucking hell.
I don't like what's the one, the robot?
Chappie,
and the more I watch the one with the one that Eminem was supposed to be in. God, what's the film called? Oh God.
Well, Elysium.
Elysium. Yeah.
You don't like Chappie?
You know what? I like both of them.
Yeah, I like both of them too.
You don't like Chappie?
District 9.
No.
Oh,
Chappie's garbage.
I don't. You know, it's funny that you say that. I had a really weird dream about District 9 yesterday.
Oh yeah.
This morning, whatever. Whatever. It was early this morning. I had a really weird dream about it. But I've been watching. You ever watch Mr. H reviews?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's Mr. H reviews, Acid Theory, stuff like that. There's a load of like different sort of people that I follow with regards to it, and they were talking about how like it might be. I think some of the original scripts that there's other creators above the engineers.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and they took the black goo, because if you look at like the mural, I mean, we could do this forever, but just to really touch upon it, like the mural, the deacon is in the mural, right?
Yeah.
That disappears.
Yeah.
So the deacon must exist in some capacity.
Yeah. So the creature existed before, but it's been re-engineered. It's just like you would re-engineer a dog or what it's like any scientist would do. And
it's just it's the whole thing is so convoluted though, because like what you're essentially saying is with Covenant, he basically said David creates the xenomorph, but not really because the xenomorph kind of already existed.
Yeah, but
do you see what I mean?
He creates the one that we see in Alien and Aliens.
Yeah, but okay, but there's two different versions of that original mural in the first one.
Yeah, in Prometheus. That's the original creature. That's the original creature.
No. There's another version. No, I think it's in Aliens 1.
This is why I had this as a subject, because Leo was going to go deep.
Yeah, I can't remember which one it was, but you can actually, or it might be Prometheus. I can't remember, but it's one image that I have that it's got a face hugger, like a proper face hugger. And I was like, oh, okay, what the fuck is that about? I don't know, man. Just make another AVP.
No, don't do that.
Yeah, just do that.
No, Prometheus there wasn't there a cutscene in Prometheus where there was a cutscene in Prometheus where they made out that Jesus was one of them they sent down.
Yeah, they made
because
out
the humans killed him. That's why they hate humans.
That's I think that's no, that's true. That's true.
It's a cutscene.
Really? The thing is, you got like Deus Ex black fluid, man. That thing, that because they even say like, oh, the black goo isn't black goo at the beginning of Prometheus. They say it's gold, and I'm like, I kind of agree with that because if you look at it, it looks gold. It's not black. So it's like, is that a different fluid? Did humans? And then some people say like, humans didn't. That beginning thing isn't. Sorry if you can hear my child screaming in the background. Humans that beginning scene isn't Earth. That's just another planet showing that they're what.
Oh no, it's Earth. Have you listened to the commentary?
There's so many, like, yeah,
no,
I have,
Earth.
but then I've listened to people backtrack on it.
I don't know. Do any of you own it on Blu-ray?
Yes.
Yeah, I got the Prometheus.
Do you own the 3D Blu-ray triple disc with that long, like 3-hour documentary firing?
Yeah, the 4K type. Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, right. Okay.
I haven't watched it. But I haven't.
You should watch it.
Sorry, I thought I'd preface that. Like, I have not sat and watched, but that 3-hour documentary is on YouTube. You can go and watch that on its own.
Okay.
As far as I'm concerned, Ridley Scott says it's an Earth-like planet. It's fucking Earth. Don't worry about it. It's Earth.
Going back to those box office numbers, so adjusted for inflation, it's Aliens, then Prometheus.
Right. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, but Alien, that makes sense though, because Alien, I have to say, like, Alien is probably one of the few films that I will say is a perfect movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
which one? Alien or Aliens?
Alien. Not plural. Okay. The first one. It's a perfect movie.
I don't think there's a perfect movie ever, but I agree.
No, dude, what's wrong with you? It's one of the perfect movies. It's paced correctly. Everything is just like, the atmosphere is perfect, the build-up is perfect, the payoff is perfect, the whole thing is perfect. I think some people complained about what's her name being in underwear at the end of it, and I'm like, no. Yeah, and I was like, no.
The last thing you care about.
Hey, look, that film, like Joe, I don't know if I can call any film perfect, but when you're thinking about films that get as close to perfection as you want, if you had to pick one film in each genre, I think if you were talking about like, okay, sci-fi / horror, Alien would fit the bill.
Yeah. That's what it is. I mean, that's what he calls it. He calls it Texas Chainsaw Massacre in space. Aliens is the lead. It's a perfect lightning in the bottle. Alien and then Aliens. It's you can watch those two films they take them two very different ways. One's a gothic horror, one's a freaking action horror.
Go
on.
I'm just going to throw this here. Last time I saw those films was before I saw Covenant, and I hadn't seen those films in a real long time. I'm talking like 10 years.
Which ones?
All Aliens. All Aliens.
Up to 4 and Prometheus.
I saw Prometheus, obviously, but I hadn't seen Prometheus since cinemas.
Did you watch Resurrection? Did you do yourself?
No, I didn't watch Resurrection. I got to. You know what? I got 5 minutes into Resurrection, and I switched it off because automatically the tone was completely different from the other movies.
Yeah.
Now bear in mind, on this marathon that I did, I hadn't seen Alien 3 since I originally saw it and disowned it back in '95, back in '96 when I saw it. So I hadn't really gone seen the director's, well, the studio cut or whatever, that extended version, because it ain't got nothing to do with David Fincher. So I watched that version, and that version made me appreciate the movie a little bit more. You know, the extended
you should watch. You should watch the Oliver Harper retrospective he did on it.
Oh, okay.
It's really interesting, and he talks about how, like, Alien 3, she was supposed to crash land on a wooden planet.
Yeah, I knew about that.
And I was like, I love that idea, like full of monks
with the
and
monks
shit.
and stuff. Yeah.
That's like a fucking great idea. But
they had
obviously,
like about 12 different strips. Rennie Harlan was supposed to direct one. But I heard all kinds of stuff over the years, because back in the day I used to buy Empire every single month, kind of thing.
Of course.
And they used to talk about it in Empire. Like, there'd always be an article on Alien 3 and stuff, and you heard all kinds of wacky shit. But in this marathon, obviously I hadn't seen these films in so long. I see the first one and I'm like, wow, that was really good, like really fucking good. But you know what? Aliens was always the one which I watched over and over as a kid, kind of thing. I've seen that.
It's the most accessible.
Yeah, but I've seen that film so many times, I can't even count. And I hadn't seen it in like 10 years. And I was like, cool, let's go watch some Aliens. Because I hadn't seen it in so long, and probably because I think most modern day action films and stuff are all right, but not really that great. Fucking hell, Aliens blew my fucking mind again. I was like,
how much of a dick was Burke though in that movie?
Oh yeah, totally. I came out of that movie just thinking, yes, I can't wait. I'm psyched. I want to see more. And then obviously, like, I knew that wasn't going to happen. But rewatching Prometheus, I like that movie more. I like Prometheus, even though
it's a good movie.
Even though there are some things that don't really make sense, like character choices don't make sense, because like you got the scientists that are scared of their own shadow, and then next minute they're like, "Hey, little buddy," to a space cobra. That makes no sense. But like, aside from that little quip, I quite enjoyed it for the space opus that it was. But Covenant, I didn't really feel it. But
so Alien 3 introduced me to a thing that I had never, because I didn't read the comics or anything when I was younger, so I didn't really know, but it introduced me to something that I was like, oh, that's so fucking cool, which they may have addressed in the other films, but I don't know, was how the xenomorph takes the form of what its facehugger took of. Yeah. So like, because obviously in the first two Aliens, it's a human, right? It was fucking John Hurt? And then all the people on LV-426, right? The colony. But you never see the facehuggers take over anything else. So when they take over, because in Alien 3, now correct me if I'm wrong, I think there's two cuts of that. One where they show that he takes over a Doberman, is it? Not a Rottweiler?
Yeah.
One was supposed to be a cow.
Yeah, that's right. But I think...
No, I thought he just killed the cow.
I can't remember.
No,
but he takes over the dog and kills the cow.
Yeah, but there's an uncut version, there's a cut version, that they showed on TV that showed not the dog or cow. It was just like, this is the alien. This is what it is.
Okay.
And then when I got older, I was like, no. Then I got a little bit older and I saw it again, and I was like, oh, okay, it took over a dog. Now it looks like a dog. I get it. That's why it can run like a dog, and that it has that horrible CGI shape that it has, which is just a completely separate point. But and I was like, okay, dog. And then now that, like, there's like gorilla xenomorphs. Did you know that shit? I didn't know that shit. Just from like reading comic books, there's gorilla ones. There's the planet. If you look at the planet that LV-426 is on, I think at one point there's like a mountain that's like a xenomorph.
Damn.
Like a whole mountain.
I guess.
And
wow.
Then, yeah, because they go back, right? They go back to not LV-426, but in the comic books, and I think it was called in Fire and Stone. They go back to Fire and Ice. Fire and Ice is what's it called?
Game of Thrones. Mixing franchises.
Yeah, Fire and Stone. Yeah, they go back to that planet, and like people, they have like a weird robot who's got like 4 arms, like Goro and shit. They really went in depth on it, but I have it. I haven't read it.
I guess that's going into like a different stratosphere when
that's why I'm
it's
dropping
comics.
it, but yeah.
Well, whatever Ridley Scott is up to, he's got a game plan. He always has. So I hope he gets to. I hope what he has in store, because apparently there's a whole Bible of what the Alien franchise should be. That was written by Damon Lindelof and the other writer, John Spatz.
Yeah.
So going forward, there are certain rules that the Black Goo has, that the aliens have, that the facehuggers have, incubation time, everything. There's a whole rule book. So going forward,
do you think that if it flopped, that they would let him buy the property off them?
No. No. It's
really
it's too big. It's too big of a name. It's
because it's not even too big of a name. It's that every year when these movies go on the cycle to TV channels, the TV licensing make enough money that there's no way they'll drop it.
It's a cash cow for
Disney. Even if that wasn't a thing, even if the TV licensing wasn't a thing, I think the way to look at it is, since Alien has been basically crossed, linked, clashed with Predator, you have a mega franchise, because no matter what happens, you can always link it back. Because
I don't know. I've seen
because the thing is this,
AVP Requiem.
No, because the films might be terrible.
Or I didn't actually see it because it was all dark. But yeah.
Yeah, but all right. So the films might not be great, but the comic books are brilliant. And it's like I've been really, really, like, over the last kind of couple of years, been playing more retro video games than present day video games. And it's like playing. I've been trying to get my hands on the Alien versus Predator game, where one of your characters is freaking Arnold Schwarzenegger from Predator, and I'm like,
it's actually not Arnold.
Huh?
It's not Arnold.
Brother. It's his brother, no?
No, it's a made-up character for the game. Trust me, I've got it.
No, there's one of them. It's the comic books.
It's the guy with the machine gun hand.
Yeah, with the machine gun hand.
Yeah, that's not his brother.
Weird, because in the books, I have the books of Alien vs Predator, and in the books, it's his brother. It's the Schwarzenegger's brother. But I was watching a thing. A guy was like reviewing the game, and he claimed it was the Arnold Schwarzenegger character. And as I don't have the game to know for myself, I just said, okay, he must be right.
Just emulate it. Get it on MAME or something.
Oh no! I got a plan in the works. Well, I say I got a plan in the works. Someone in this group has put me on to having a plan in the works.
I'm assuming that involves a retro pie.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I'm gonna let's move on now. So Josh Trank regrets not casting a black woman as Sue Storm. I think with that, I think you choose the best actor. This is regards to Fantastic Four, or as such likes to call it, Fantastic Four Stick or Fan Four Stick, whatever. You go for the best actor that's right for the part, black or white.
Gabriel Union.
He's saying
that's what you hope for.
Was Michael B. Jordan as Johnny. Mm-hmm. And then obviously it became a point of contention that he'd hired a black man to play Johnny and then a white woman to play Sue, and they're supposed to be brother and sister. And then he was like, oh, but we'll have it that Sue is adopted by Johnny's dad. And
reading the comments by Trank himself, that was actually a studio decision to have it a mixed thing. He tried to push to have a black woman play Sue, but was shot down because they were like, no, we're already pushing diversity in this movie, which makes no sense.
Well, yeah, because
that's what he was told.
He wanted the whole Storm family,
to be black
characters. That's why Johnny's dad is black, and Johnny, and then so that would have made sense. I think, hindsight is a great thing. I think it would have made it more acceptable from a point of view is they're both back, they're brother and sister. That
yeah,
more continuity there rather than having the adopted
it was a
thing.
story. It was a story point that didn't need addressing. To be quite honest, it was like sure there are mixed families and stuff. That's not a problem. But if you've got so much things going on in this story with introducing all of these characters, do we really want to throw that as another thing in the mix? No, man. And also, why did he regret it though? Does he regret it because of? He's just talking about a lot of stuff because he clearly hates the cut of that movie that got released. He's just come out with Coppin with Tom Hardy, which he's made up. I've not seen it, but I'm hearing a lot of stuff that apparently it's supposed to be good, and I've also heard that it's really boring.
Obviously went straight to a digital format.
Oh no, it's not that great at all.
Oh wow!
you should do hashtag Josh Trank cut in it. Somewhere for fan.
No, Trank's already said he doesn't want to do another cut. He's actually quit Twitter, so I think he's just this has more come out because. The movements that are going on at the moment. He was interviewed by a particular organization, something of color. I can't remember who he actually spoke to. And that's how it come up. So it's more just a timing factor. I don't think it would have necessarily come out any other way. So
I agree.
It's kind of irrelevant at this point in a sense, but I mean maybe it's his way of saying, I tried to push this, the studios didn't, and he's trying to show how studios don't necessarily accept actors of color or stories of, in terms of maybe that box office and that poster image and driving those big movies. Because from the studio point of view, that was supposed to be a big blockbuster movie.
Yeah. He's holding a red flag up essentially, so that this is what the studio did. Boom.
You see, for me, right? I almost is right now. Sash knows that I'm a humongous Fantastic Four fan.
No way.
Right? And my thing for that is having the whole, mixed or blended family or whatever, and it's like you got a white Sue and a black Johnny. I'm like, it could have worked. It could have even worked in that film. Yes, you're introducing characters and you're doing all of this stuff, but I'm like, you needed to present it in a way, because I'm like, I feel like I only watched the film once because, the hatred for that film is high, but I watched it once, and the one time I watched it, in my head I was thinking, I can see what you're trying to do, but you're not addressing the issues that you need to address in order to make this blend work. And it's just like, nah, it's like the whole it's the Martha situation again, right? It's like I see the plan, the execution ain't running.
I think it's
also,
become a cop out.
Doom looked really crap in that movie. Did anybody think that Dr. Doom's eyes are too close together in that film? I was like, the whole time I was going like, oh, it's just so frustratingly bad. The costume is horrible. I like Michael B. Jordan because I just like Michael B. Jordan. I don't really care what he's in. Usually what he's in is quite entertaining. So I'm like when he's like Killmonger in Black Panther, like, you're a fucking badass. I mean, that film's not great, but you're fucking awesome. And in Creed, great. So as Johnny Storm, let's be honest here, who gives a fuck about anybody else apart from the Flame On guy? Like, I don't care about, that's my personal opinion. I don't care about the Thing. Like, whatever. You know why no one cares about the Thing? Because we have a Hulk. That's why. No one cares about him because it's like, oh yeah, well, you could stop a car. Yeah, cool. I've got a guy who can lift a planet and break it or whatever. So
I think that's more due to the point that we haven't had a good film with the Thing in it. So,
that's true.
That is true.
But I was saying about going back to what a point that guys was making about the director's cut or the studio cut. It's become a cop out. Every director is coming out that I find that the movie has been hated by everybody else. Just comes up and says, "Look, it wasn't my cut; it was a studio." And you go, "All right, why did it take you 6 months after that?" And say, "This was my decision."
Probably under contract, maybe.
No, all these guys' contracts ends of the day they will submit the movie.
But yeah, I mean, I have Suicide Squad and Trank both literally came out same day it was released. And Trank was like, "This is not my movie." I just telling people not to go see it. He was like, "This is not my movie. It's not on it." And I as well. He started off saying that there was changes, and he started getting more and more confident. But I think these guys there's got to be a fine balance of your artistic direction and pissing off a studio.
Yeah.
You need these studios to be able to green light your movies, and if you end up pissing them off, if you know you're not going to work for them again, that particular studio, that's fine. But he saw Suicide Squad and he's thinking there's sequel potential there. I can't say too much about it, but now obviously the Gunn's doing the reboot / sequel, and he's like, yeah, I want to do my cut. And I'm fine with that as well.
Do you know what's really funny? It's literally what you just said there is two ends of the spectrum. On one end, you have Michael Bay in Transformers, which is do everything the studio wants you to do. Yeah. And on the other end, you have artistic expression and The Spirit by Frank Miller.
The problem is,
and they just say,
the problem is Michael Bay makes a lot of money.
I know, that's what I mean. I know, but so he like his films are very formulaic, right? Like you can watch a movie, they look the same. He lingers on the right shots. You're like, okay, cool. It's just like if that's a Michael Bay movie, right? You look at it and you're like Michael Bay, which is why I like the new Bad Boys film. Whilst it's great, like, okay, that's not a Michael Bay film because not everyone in this movie is a Victoria's Secret model, and we're not going to have wide shot angles of a girl's ass or her like Megan Fox holding the fucking bonnet open. No one holds a bonnet open like that. There are straps. Just do strut out. Ask Marvin, he'll tell you. So he's a mechanic. That's why. But the point is, it's like that's a Michael Bay movie. It's formulaic, and they know that it's going to make money. On the other end of the spectrum, you have somebody who had like a major hit for writing the comic book and possibly producing or being part like an executive producer for Sin City, and then he somehow convinced studios to give him a shitload of money to make The Spirit, and he's like, "Oh, trust me, I created it. I know what I'm talking about."
That was off the back of it.
No, I think that was his pet project because he's like, as much as all of us have like a particular person that we're just like we love, Will Eisner is the person he loved. Like Will Eisner was the one who kind of like. He loved the Will Eisner comic. He loved Will Eisner as a person. He was like, this guy is my mentor. He brought me forward.
Then he fucked it.
And he was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do my version of Will Eisner's project because no one else will do it right. And then it was like...
I was going to watch that film the other day because I saw it on TV. And then I had to legitimately remind myself of how disappointed I was in the cinema when I went to go watch it. And I was like, God, this film sucked. Yeah, I remember this.
The only thing I remember about that movie was a red tie.
That's right. Yeah. It's exactly like how I draw. When I draw shit, I've drawn some shit.
Yeah,
and it's like black and white, and then
color in it.
I just do a little bit of red, and I'm like, yeah, that's it. That'll do.
I never actually saw that.
It's shocking.
Well,
one thing though, in regards to what you're saying, Leo, about like, on one hand you have somebody like Michael Bay who's just like, look, just give me every studio note you have now, and then I'll do everything you want, and you can just give me all the money, or then you have, you flip it the other way and you have like, people talking about artistic vision and they had this idea in mind and that. I think it's sort of a point where sometimes you have to kind of say, you kind of have to blame yourself because on one hand, you look at the studio and it's like, at the end of the day, they want to spend the least amount of money they have to spend to get the maximum profit they can get. And
of course, it's like stocks, isn't it?
They'll hire you because your name and the things that you've done before have put you in a position where people are like, I wonder what you could do with this. I wonder what what Edgar Wright could do if we gave him Ant-Man. It's that. But then at the same time, you have to remember what you're making. Because it does, in my opinion, it generally only seems to happen nowadays with comic book type movies, right? Or something like Star Wars, right? Is what you're doing gonna sell toys? I'm like, if all the things that you have planned, are they gonna sell toys? If you can say, listen, I got all these batshit crazy ideas, they will sell toys. Then they'll be like, how much should we say? Well, 100 million? Here's 2. Enjoy.
Yo, G, but tell me, taking your logic that there is Jerry Maguire toy with a pull string that says "Show me the money," because I will 100% buy that.
But that's the thing, is like if you're making a film that is already a really high established IP, high value away from film, if it has a high value away from film, you literally, I'm like, whatever artistic vision you have, you need to put it in a little bottle and you need to sip that shit real tenderly, because you need to do what they want in order for your film to come out, right? If they're sick, the second they smell you're not doing what they want, you're either going to get fired, or they're immediately letting you keep going, and they've already got the phone blowing off the hook with your replacement director, your replacement editor, your replacement writer. They are not going to let that shit slide, because you might make the perfectly artistic film and then chip and you're done. You ain't making another one again. They have to worry about that film. They have to. If this film don't make this money, we can't make a sequel. If we can't make
Is
a
that
sequel,
what happened to Underwater?
Probably not, because I don't think it was like a super established property.
No, I just saw Birds of Prey yesterday.
Yeah,
good.
No, well,
okay, all right. It's a mixed bag, because you know what? I tried to divorce myself from all comic book knowledge and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay,
You have to.
saying that, it was entertaining. It was actually entertaining, but putting in the fact that I do know about these comic book characters, you guys are going to have problems with this shit, man. There's some serious
I was
problems.
just, you know what, I was going to say something really snarky there when you were like, I divorced myself from all comic book knowledge. I was going to be like, didn't you do that a long time ago, though?
Jesus.
Go on, Neil, what were you going to say? What's your opinion on Birds of Prey?
Average as fuck. Has some cool fight scenes in it, though.
I said Neil, man.
Yeah,
oh, Neil.
I already heard it. You didn't like it.
With Birds of Prey, that makes a really good point, right? Because when you look at Birds of Prey, for me, I look at that film and I say, I can see exactly what Warner Brothers did. They had, in their eyes, they had an absolute #1 championship, bells and whistles winner with the character of Harley Quinn. That portrayal of Harley Quinn, for those who know nothing about the origins and love of Harley Quinn, it's a slam dunk. For those who do know, it's a mixed point, because you got some people who were like, yeah, I like that Harley Quinn, and some people are like, I don't know about that.
Also, she became super accessible to people.
Yeah, because
especially like cosplay and ethos girls.
Yeah, because that's the thing, is like, I'm talking.
That's all you roll your eyes there, Ken.
No, as people who've been going to like comic cons
like that. In a sense, it's totally overdone.
Yeah, because there's the thing, is you look at it like I've been going to comic cons and things for years, and before Suicide Squad, I saw a number of Harley Quinns, but they were all from the Arkham games, and maybe one or two who were just coming from the Batman animated show.
Polite way of saying they were all thin.
They were all brilliant.
They were all thin. They were all thin. That's your polite way of saying it,
right? But then the second the film comes out, and it was just like all of them. They had the jacket, they had the bat, they had the top, they had the shorts, they had the boots on, and it was just like, yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah,
right?
You're right.
But the point was that Warner Brothers had this championship gold medal idea. They basically, if you look at it like a sports team, they were like, we've got the Michael Jordan of female characters right now, and what we really need is a Scottie Pippen, and we need a Rodman, and we need some other people that we can throw in there together. And all they did was they were like, okay, what are the female characters that we can use from Warner from the DC gallery that can fit in this? And they were like, oh, well, there's this thing called Birds of Prey. It's Harley and Birds of Prey. Well, no, but this person and this person and this person are in it, and they've interacted with Harley, and there's a comic book with these two together and a comic book with these, and they were like, get it done. Right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how that conversation went, because actual Birds of Prey themselves are only in it for about 20 minutes.
Holy shit, Rosie Perez is in that movie.
Yeah.
Fucking white man can't jump. Rosie Perez. Damn, son.
Yeah, she hasn't been in the film for years.
What's the matter with you?
And you know what?
Yeah, I haven't seen that. The thing is, I'm only just looking through now.
through the
like
car.
the casting, the casting of that movie while you're talking, because I was
Yeah.
curious to see who else was in it.
How good or bad was Ewan McGregor in it?
Okay, all right. No, Ewan
You know
McGregor.
what? He was
Okay,
good.
he was great. He was great, but if you're looking for Black Mask, you will not find Black Mask. Okay,
No, he looks like
you'll get an entirely different character.
Hello there.
Like, I'll be honest, like, when I was watching the film,
Hello there.
I was like, you know what it is? It's that thing of where you see
Obi-Wan. Joking.
No, not even is it Obi-Wan, but it's like they pick a person and it's like this person's doing a great job as what they are being asked to do.
Yeah, exactly.
But what they're being asked to do is not what they're supposed to do. It's not what the character that they are.
What the character is.
I am going to say something though. That film, you could tell because there was an original draft of that script that got leaked, and they were going to go a completely different direction with that character.
Yeah,
and they even filmed it as that. But obviously, they saw the backlash, and we know how Warner Brothers like to rebuttal. Well, they rebutted, and he does have a moment where he's wearing the black mask in one shot of the whole entire film, and that's it. But you could tell they rebutted because, you know what I mean, of the backlash they'd probably get.
Yeah.
So
they weren't ready for that.
Yeah, they weren't ready for that.
I don't know enough about.
Basically, so what the original kind of idea was supposed to be was that Harley had gotten basically pictures or evidence that proved that the character of Black Mask, that he was gay. And the fact that he's, supposed to be this big time mob boss and, career criminal and that, his outlook is it would ruin his standing within organized crime. So he was trying to get those pictures back and get the evidence and kind of kill her for that. And obviously their outlook was like, well, we can't portray this because we'll have the entire LGBT plus community, like basically pulling out bazookas and rifles at the Warner Brothers office and sending the film to hell. And then we lose on the film, we lose on Harley Quinn, because Harley Quinn will always be forever connected with that film. And it's not like, she's connected with the Suicide Squad, but we can salvage that because there's nothing outrageous with the film. It's just not that great. Whereas if it's like, no, because there's a whole controversy now with this, they wouldn't take that. I'm like, look, they got worried that a couple of people weren't greatly impressed with Man of Steel and started changing shit. There was no way that they was going to let that storyline of like, oh, homosexuality and organized crime, they weren't going to let that fly.
What? I've not seen Birds of Prey. It didn't look, and nothing in it looked appealing to me, just like Suicide Squad. I thought this looks like if it came out in the 90s, I would have been up for it. But now, even the second one more so than the first one.
I think as well is what they tried to do with this film was it was basically a star-making vehicle for Harley Quinn, because originally, like the title, if you go to pick up the title of the film now is not what the title of the film was when it was going into cinemas.
Right.
The title of the film going into cinemas was Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous, whatever the fuck it is.
Oh, the emancipation of the one Harley Quinn.
Yeah, and now it's just Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey. Which
is easier to swallow.
Yeah, which is far easier to swallow, which is true. But it's like, with this one, and this is probably one of the, I'm sure that films do this all the time and film studios do this all the time, but with Birds of Prey, it was so obvious that Warner Brothers were basically like, you know what, we need to, like, the Me Too movement has been a big thing right now. We need to just push as much female empowerment as we can. And it was just like, it basically looked to me, it was like, clearly a bunch of men have just said, we need to make female empowerment cool. And we're going to do it this way. And then, it was just like, it was just poor. It's not a terrible film. It's not the worst film I've seen. It's not the worst comic book film I've seen. But it's just in the grand scheme of you're trying to reestablish your connected universe after the failures that you've had, that's not the road to take.
Right. Well, okay. Well,
Sam's told us all to be quiet in it, so that's why we weren't talking. We had to be quiet.
No, it's like if you watch the film, you might enjoy it. You might you'll get some chuckles out of it. There are some scenes that are quite funny, but that's it. That's as far as it goes. It's not gonna last with you. It's not gonna stay with you. You're not gonna be like, I have to own this film. I have to watch it again.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. You're not recommending it to your friends.
Right.
Although I like Suicide Squad though, so how weird is that?
It's not as to me. I didn't enjoy it as much as I enjoyed Suicide Squad.
Yeah, a lot of people dish that film, and I'm like, you know what? It's okay. I don't mind the Joker in that.
It's not a it's not a
brilliant. I think Harley Quinn in that movie is okay. Like, I don't know why the Flash is in it for any reason.
I mean, I didn't hate Birds of Prey. I thought it was average. I've always average. Like I said, I kicked my DC knowledge at the door, etc. I had a good time with it, with the action scenes and stuff. You can, with what Neil said, you can see the rebuttal in it, because there are parts in it where you're like, is Victor Zsasz and Black Mask, do they have a thing? Because they look like they have a thing, but it's not addressed, if you know what I mean. It's very much like, hang on, are they flirting? What's going on there? I don't know. And then it's kind of left, and then Ewan McGregor's kind of flirting with women all over the place as well. So I guess maybe he's into both, but I don't know. They don't go in there. They don't go in there. But he was really good, Ewan McGregor, as the character as written. As Black Mask, I could see a lot of people having a lot of problems with that. But, you know, he did the best job he could, you know, under the circumstances. But yeah, it's average.
See, the thing is about the Harley Quinn movie, it didn't need to be the all-female empowerment. What would have been more empowering is Harley Quinn leading a bunch of men. Yeah? So if you look at the Harley Quinn animated cartoon that's out right now, that is what that movie should have been. You know, the Joker has this huge impact on her life. She is just like his sidekick. She doesn't get any recognition. She breaks up with him, and then she goes about trying to establish her own crew. And so
then also rapes
other people.
And then she sexually assaults, what's his name?
Nightwing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then you've got the Robin factor, the Batman factor. I'm really enjoying this animated series.
I hope it's really good.
It's really good. It's a lot of fun. It doesn't take itself seriously at all. Loads of in-jokes to what DC have done in their movies and stuff like that. So much swearing and it's ridiculous. And it's so much fun. And that is what that movie should have been. It should have been her empowering as a woman, running her own crew rather than has to be all female.
Right.
So that is where for me they should have taken that. That would have had a far greater impact for that character than what the decision they went with Birds of Prey.
Yo, Ken, try to come closer to the mic, man.
Yeah. So the audio's degrading here a little bit.
Oh yeah, okay, cool.
You know,
wait! But just before you go off onto one, this was originally supposed to be about Sue Storm.
Yeah.
No way! Fuck off.
So Harley Quinn should have been black.
Oh shit! Yeah. So we went off on a tangent.
Wonder Woman should have been black.
Yeah.
Look, comic book character. Everyone's gonna be precious about comic book characters because they want to see the images they've seen in the comics up on the screen.
Yeah.
They're very protective of these characters. They've been around for many, many years, 50, 60 plus years. So to try and change the diversity of that character is going to be very, very challenging.
Yeah.
But you have to move the times.
To do it is they reimagine it. You know, where you have Miles Morales and stuff like that. A different version of that character, but still keep the original. So what these comic book movies need to maybe try and do is either try and take more from the comics of those that are doing it, or do what the comics haven't done already. So if there is another version of this character that you could have, try it that way. You know, you try it once. You know, don't necessarily have to have the material there on the comics itself. If they did a Fantastic Four and it was completely different setup in terms of the cast, go with it, run with it. You know, that movie lacked because of the story, and it wasn't anything to do with the characters. They're actually all really good actors in that movie. They're all very, very capable.
Except for that girl, she annoys me.
No, Kate
Yeah,
Mara.
I can see what you mean by that. But you look at the X-Men movies, a lot of the casting is really well done for a lot of X-Men movies. It's just the way it's executed. So it's always going to be tough. I don't think you're ever really going to get enough diversity in comic book movies people would like, unless there is the source material stuff.
Yo, Ken, is it, I think you might need to adjust your audio settings because you're starting to like peter out.
Yeah, you sound like you're underwater, man.
Okay, fine.
You not got some headphones?
Gone now.
All that money, no headphones, huh? What's going on with you, man? You should have some spare dough, man. You just fucking cancelled the wedding, dickhead.
Costing me more.
Yeah, sorry about that shit. What's the next subject?
Okay, so Steve McQueen, director of 12 Years a Slave, he's just made a BBC TV show called Axe. It's now being changed into 5 separate feature films now. So yeah,
what's it about?
I thought it was
about
West Indies,
West Indian people living in the UK in like the late 70s, like I think it's the late 70s through to like the mid 80s.
Yeah, from the 60s to the early 80s.
Yeah,
right.
They did that already. It's called Desmond's.
And if you haven't seen Desmond's, you're missing out because that's a great show. That is
they
like
already
the
did
best
that.
show.
Let's move on. We watched that. It was the funniest fucking show.
It has to be better than Desmond's, right?
Yeah, if it's not better than Desmond's, what's the fucking point?
Maybe this is
Not
the new
better
name
than
for it.
Desmond's.
If
Get
there's no
out.
character called Pork Pie, I don't want to know, bro. I don't want to know.
Hey, Pork Pie was amazing, man. That guy.
I know, that's what I'm saying. If there ain't no Pork Pie, what's the point of watching
He had his own spin-off. Do you remember?
Yeah, where he
No,
won the
he
lottery
did
and
not.
stuff.
Yeah, I
he
remember
did.
that.
Yeah, he won the lottery.
Really?
Yeah, he won the lottery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is it a
I
TV
was
show you
just-
guys are talking about? Because
bro,
I'm kind of left out.
Desmond,
Desmond is a TV show, or was a TV
Sitcom.
show, very
All
far
right.
British sitcom about a West Indian barbershop owner
All right.
and his
Okay.
family, and one of his close friends was a character named Pork Pie. And
Right.
when the show finished, because unfortunately Desmond passed away.
Oh, all right.
And when that happened, they decided to have a spin-off show about Pork Pie.
So
That's
take
weird.
those scenes in Coming to America, and there was like a show of that.
No, I
Absolutely
get it. But
British-
I'm kind of
British
confused how
humor.
to
British version.
humor.
Well,
Yeah, honestly, I can't, man. Can't we just go back in time and go back to those days? Because it's just simpler days, bro. Just simpler days. Like,
I mean,
with everything that's going on, I'm just going to put on some Desmond's, man. It was like, think of like the same humor, Salmon, as like, as like Fresh Prince, but with a British twang.
cool.
Same style,
Nice.
same grainy footage, like, except it was just where was the barbershop based? Is it
Peckham.
North or-
Peckham.
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 Heck.
Wow.
So
Love that show, man.
what is this? What is it highlighting? What is it?
So it from what I could gather, from what I could glean, from what I saw, Small Axe. I believe the show was called Small Axe.
Mhm.
It's it follows a bunch of different people. So
Right.
it's probably the fact that it's being split into like 5 films. It'll possibly either like each film will follow one particular set of people throughout that period of time,
Mhm.
or like maybe it's 5 films following all 5 characters through like, oh well, here they are in the 60s, and here they are in the
Right.
mid 60s, and here they are in the late 60s. And 70s.
I think it
John
starts
Boyega's
from.
in it as well. So yeah.
Yeah,
I
John
think it
Boyega,
starts from them
Letitia Wright's in
moving
it.
here,
Huh?
and then their lives. I think it starts from a particular family moving to
To the
UK from
UK.
West Indies,
Mm.
and then their lives and trials and the racism, the hurdles, and everything they went through during that
John
period of
Boyega's
time.
in it as well. John
Yes.
Boyega.
Yes.
Sacha just said that.
The cast is some,
Oh, did he? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
yeah, because the cast is a strong cast from
Yeah.
people that I looked when I looked at it. I was like, hey, okay.
I mean, he had Brad Pitt in one of his films. He's going to get a strong cast.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. The 6-hour-long episodes ranging from 1969 to 1982.
Mm.
I think they're going to be showing it in America as well with some cable.
Yeah, this is that
channel.
sounds like a HBO thing, or this wouldn't be a cinema piece.
No.
Speaking of TV shows being released in America, for fuck, Gangs of London.
What?
Okay, Gangs of London. There was a show called. Okay, you've seen the Raid, right?
It's by the guy that did the Raid.
Yeah, it's by the guy that did the Raid. Guy called Gareth Evans, right?
Yeah, the Welsh guy.
That's right. Yeah. So he's like directing this TV show, and I'm watching it, and the whole time, and it's the first thing I said to you, Neil, was like, British people do not talk like this from London. They don't talk like this. And
you're the third person that said that to me,
bro. I could only watch the first episode. I could not watch the rest of it because it just really just threw me off.
Can I ask you something? Can I ask you something? Did it lay into the stereotypes of what English people, what Americans think about?
Exactly. They were like,
there you go.
And I actually wrote a post of it on Facebook, and I said, this is just wanted to let everybody know that English people from London do not talk like this, especially gangsters. Don't.
Yeah. The thing is, though, for me, when I watched it, because I watched the entire show like start to end.
Yeah.
The person who, the way he spoke directly caused friction was, I guess you could say he's not the main character, but he's positioned as the main character, he's the son of Finn, Sean, right? Mm-hmm. The character's name is Sean. He's the son of this big time gangster named Finn who dies, and he is the best.
Miles O'Brien, by the way, for anybody who doesn't know.
Yeah, but do you know what
Chief Engineer Miles O'Brien from Star Trek.
The best way that I can pinpoint the issues with the way he speaks is, if you guys have all seen Kingsman, yes?
Yeah.
Right.
Eggsy.
Now think of Eggsy. You think of the way Eggsy speaks.
Right.
Now the actor who plays Eggsy, Taron
Egerton.
Yeah.
If you hear him speak in an interview, you can see that obviously you put on this role very well, but that's not how you speak.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The way that this guy Sean speaks in the show is the way that Tarragon speaks in real life, but he's trying to be the son of this gangster. So, and it's like a son of an Irish gangster who moved to London while he was in his 20s. You don't sound.
But the thing is, but that actor, he's not actually even from London. He's from like up north somewhere, because he's in what the fuck is the other guy? Peaky Blinders.
Yeah, but that's the thing is, hearing him speak, I was like, you're not from London. You're not born in London. You ain't raised in London.
No, but the worst part is this: he's somebody from up north doing a Londoner's accent badly. But what I don't like is Londoners doing London accents badly. We don't talk like that. You know, we don't talk like that. But they do it because the Americans need to be able to understand what the fuck we're saying. Because otherwise,
you got to look at it.
They wouldn't
look at it from that point of view. Because look, you look at something like The Wire, right? I remember the controversy of when they were playing The Wire on
BBC Two.
Yes, it was on BBC, and they were putting subtitles up when certain people spoke.
I remember that.
Right? And I was like, in my head, the thing is, because it didn't click to me, because at first I watched maybe the first 2 episodes, but then I got the show and watched the show fully, so I never had any subtitles. But when they were like, oh, they put on subtitles when these certain people speak, it's like, for what? And it was like, because they couldn't understand what they were saying. And I can imagine that if you took a real London thing, like look at Top Boy, right? Top Boy is now on Netflix. I'm like, you couldn't show Top Boy on like ABC,
right?
Or, CBS or something, right? No matter what the watershed was, because you'd have an audience of people who have no fucking idea what's being said.
Yeah. I know. It just annoyed me, because I'm like, a show that's revolving around the gangs of London that have absolutely nothing to do with the gangs of London, and they would try to hit every stereotype as well. Like, right, we have the Indian gangs, we have the Arab gangs, the Chinese gangs, the black gangs, who are basically the white gangs. I was like, what the fuck is this nonsense? This is not it.
The Sean actor, he's from Kingston. upon Thames. He's from South London. Well, it's near Surrey.
Nah, Kingston upon Thames ain't South London.
South off London. South
of London.
Hold on. Who are you talking about here?
Sean, the guy you guys keep on talking about, the guy from Peaky Blinders, the guy from the show. This guy.
Really? Is he?
Yep.
Well, he does a really good northern accent, mate, because he does it because he's up in Birmingham.
Yeah.
And like, why he couldn't do a London accent properly even annoys me even more. Because the way he talks, it's like it's as if he's never tried.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
I'm sure he was privately educated, so.
Yeah.
Well, he's from Kingston upon Thames. He probably is privately educated.
Well, no, his character is probably private educated.
Oh, right. No, but I'm just saying that yeah, but that's kind of funny though, because that means that the director or somebody must have told him this is how he's going to speak, right?
You know what? I reckon that's not what it was. I reckon it wasn't director because I don't think Gareth would have done that.
Well, don't forget,
I reckon he probably filled some dailies and they went and they said, no, we don't understand. People in America are not good. It's just Sky Atlantic. They're not going to understand what these people are saying. You need to redo it.
It is depending on who they want to put the show out to. So like there's so many shows where they'll adjust the dialogue. If you look at the TV show that was on ITV recently, like Little Boy Blue, about Rhys Jones, who was murdered.
Yeah,
right.
It's all set up in like Liverpool. Yeah, so like
right.
the cast have Liverpool accents, and really thick and heavy accents. So a lot of it's quite hard to understand. If you're not used to that, that isn't a show that it will do well necessarily internationally, based on because of the demographic where it is. They could have all gotten to speak with London accents or normal accents, instead in Liverpool, but they tried to make it authentic as possible because that was for a UK audience, because it was a very UK situation that was in the news and people are aware of. So it all depends on where they wanted. This show is something they were going to put across. It was going to be on BBC America or a cable network or something like that. So, because like Luther, Luther's a very British show, and they speak normally in that, but that's done so well in America because of how gritty and how good a show it is. So
that show's fucking awesome.
And which networks are going to be putting it over in the States?
I know we were supposed to be talking about this small acts, but I just don't give a shit about it. Let's talk about that other shit.
But I do remember this. So remember Lock, Stock, Two Smoking Barrels when that came out?
Yeah.
I bought my copy, the VHS copy at that time, because the DVDs hadn't come out yet in America. And by the way, most of it was subtitled.
Yeah.
I'm not even joking. It was all subtitled. And I laughed at it. Well, I didn't laugh at it when I brought it here to my cousins in London. They're like, why is this subtitled? Where'd you get this from? Like, I got it from New Jersey. It's like, no way. It's like, really? It is. And they showed me their version that they had. And obviously, they had no subtitles. And then I laughed about it. It was like, oh, yeah, they must have did that because they complained about it.
You freaking dubbed over, Mel Gibson for Mad Max.
Yeah, that's true. The Aussie accent.
VHS, the days where you had no options. It was like, it's got subtitles. Deal with it.
Well, I missed this bit. Let me just skip a scene.
Oh, those were the days, man. Anybody else?
I'm finding myself buying more digital stuff now. Like, I just go straight to iTunes because it's 4K and it's right there and I don't need to get up. It's like, come on, this problem's there, and I'm too fucking lazy.
Yeah, because
a hard hockey guy. But what I've noticed, I found myself doing, is like, I went through all my Blu-rays and every single.
And you took the digital ones out, right?
All the digital codes.
Exactly what I did. It's exactly what I did.
All my digital codes.
Out that a lot of them are expired. A lot of them expired.
No, do you know what I found out as well? Is that some of them say that they expired, but
right? But they're not.
Yeah, it depends on where you try and download it from.
So what I did is I just emailed the companies and was like, "Oh yeah, my shit's expired."
Yeah, if they see it hasn't been redeemed, they'll give you a new one.
Yeah, I'm like, here's proof I paid for it. Yeah, and they'll just email you a new one, or they email you an equivalent movie. Yeah. So like, for example, I asked for one film, they were like, "Oh, we don't do that in your region anymore, but we can offer you this list of movies." And I was like, "Yeah, I'll take Bram Stoker's Dracula," which is what they offered me as one of the lists. And I was like, I've seen the rest of these films. These films suck. But Bram Stoker's Dracula is not bad. Keanu Reeves doing a bad English accent. Funny that. So I was like, I'll take it. It's Keanu Reeves. I don't mind. That's a good movie. Anyway, let's move on.
Has anybody seen Brassic?
Brassic?
Yeah.
No.
All right, it's on Sky. You give
made
it a go if you guys. Sorry?
They've made a sequel, haven't they?
No,
I've seen
Brassic's
the
a TV
trailer for
show.
Brassic 2, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it just came out like a month ago.
Got is that James Gunn's brother in it?
I can't remember the guy from Preachers in it. No, I can't remember names.
Oh
Let me
no,
tell you the
Joseph
name.
Gilgan. Joseph Gilgan. He's in.
I think that's his name. Yeah.
Is that James? Is that James Gunn's relative or something? Joseph Gilgan?
No. You're thinking of. I know who you're thinking of. The guy who's the body thing for Groot in Guardians of the Galaxy. He looks like him though. He looks a lot like him. James Gunn's little brother.
Yeah. If you guys look at Joseph Gilgan, he looks exactly like James Gunn's little brother.
Yeah.
Oh, does he? No,
Yeah,
Joseph
go look him
Gilgan is
up.
from like.
He's from. You know what? I'll tell you where he's from. He's
Sean
from that
Gunn. That's his name.
awesome
Sean Gunn.
underrated movie. Awesome underrated movie called Lockdown.
Yeah.
Lockout.
Lockout. That's it.
Yeah.
Lockout.
Yeah.
It's literally the first thing listed on his thing.
So this
Oh,
guy
okay,
here-
right. So he's
That's a good film. That's a good
Yeah,
film.
it's
The
a good
funniest
film,
bit in that movie is where he's getting beaten up and he's like, hold on. I'm
Dude,
getting
your
the
head
shit kicked out of
disappeared.
me. Oh, sorry. It's the camera. He goes, I'm getting the shit kicked out of me by a guy called Rupert. And I was like, that's like, I think I watched that with Steve Mulvey and like I didn't know anything about it. I was like, oh, it's okay. It looks like a good film. Saw the trailer, whatever. And I was like, oh, it's a Luc Besson movie. I love Luc Besson. Yeah. And it explains it because it's pretty much like just formulaic Luc Besson movie. But anyway,
Yeah, but that's
whatever.
what I loved about it. It was so formulaic that it's almost like it's taking the piss out of its own tropes. It's
It was like that. It was like that meets like Resident Evil 4. It's like I need to go in and save the president.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly like that. All right. Okay. Well, Sach, I'm going to let you go with this one because I don't know what's going on in this question.
Okay, so Wonder
Well-
Woman. It looks like Evan Peters is joining Marvel's WandaVision.
Mhm.
Who does he play, and what does this mean for the MCU?
Okay, what's WandaVision?
WandaVision
And who's
is a
Evan
TV
Peters?
show. I'll let Ken explain.
So WandaVision is the TV show which is going on Disney Plus. It's going to have Wanda and Vision.
Yeah, I remember.
Oh,
now.
right. Yeah.
There we go.
I remember. No, I actually didn't know what it was.
It's going to be a very interesting show. For me, I think what's going to happen is pretty much the whole show is going to be inside Wanda's head. It's going to be her visions, her sense of reality. I think she's going to see different versions of herself. I think she's going to see different universes, multiverses, that kind of stuff.
Do you reckon they'll touch on House of M?
It's sort of like a black and white
Yeah,
TV show
definitely.
family setting. We've seen her in the traditional Wanda headgear and outfit. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is Quicksilver from another from.
Oh, from the Days of Future Past, from the other timeline.
I wouldn't. It might be her seeing him as a vision of another universe where her brother is still alive.
Right.
Because in that universe, he relates to having a sister, and it's hinted obviously that Magneto is the father and stuff like that. It's never really spelled out.
Does he say he has a sister in that? I thought he just said that he
No,
has
he's got a sister. He's got a sister.
No, I know, but does he say it? Because he
What
usually
does he
says,
say?
because what he says, he goes, my mom used to date a guy who could do that. And then that's it. That's all he says.
I think it's in the next movie. He mentions his sister or something like that.
No, even in that,
okay.
In Apocalypse, he does say that Magneto's his dad
Yeah.
in the prison cell, and everyone looks at him like, "What?"
No,
So, yeah, that's how forgettable that movie is.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if that's something, because if Disney is smart about it, they can take the best of what the X-Men, the Fox universe has, and pick and choose based on the multiverse stuff if they wanted to, because their Quicksilver's dead.
Yeah,
I can't see them bringing him back now. If they were, it would have happened before now. Maybe he might have an appearance in this. Maybe she might see a vision of him in this as well. A bit of filming.
Sorry. Vision.
But yeah, I think that is probably where it is. Otherwise, it's going to be a completely unrelated role, and it's just going to be maybe a little bit of a nod to it. But I wouldn't be surprised if he actually plays Quicksilver.
Didn't they ask Patrick? Didn't Feige approach Patrick Stewart at one point?
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. You don't know about this, Neil?
No,
I don't know about it either.
Oh, okay. So Marvel have approached Patrick Stewart to be Professor X in the MCU. He turned them down.
Yeah,
of course.
What I knew was that they approached up. I didn't read the.
He didn't make it so.
They approached one of the two who played Professor X to reprise the role, and the person said no. I just didn't know if it was McAvoy or.
Yeah, Patrick Stewart gives zero fucks about anybody. Like he will literally do whatever the hell he wants. Like, no, I'll rephrase that. He doesn't give zero fucks about everybody. He loves everybody, but will literally do whatever he wants.
Mm-hmm.
He does not need to be dictated to by anybody. And so when when a big powerhouse like Disney comes to him, he's like, yeah, cool, have some, oh great, let's talk about it. Because most people will be like, oh shit, Disney are coming and they want to talk to me about this. But he's like, I'm fucking Sir Patrick Stewart. I don't care. I'll do what I want. Deal with it.
Absolutely. So I think this will feed off into the next Doctor Strange movie because I think Wanda's
Multiverse of Madness.
That's right.
Very heavily involved in that with the multiverse stuff. And because it's the Multiverse of Madness, that is going to set that movie up. So what Doctor Strange 2 doesn't necessarily have to do is set up too much about the multiverse, because I think it's going to drive people to see that show on Disney Plus, and then that will do a lot of the exposition that they need for that movie. So that's how I see it.
Who's got Disney Plus here? Out of all six of us, I've got it. Who else has got it?
Disney Plus, yeah, I've got it.
Does anybody have you used it as much as you thought you would? Because I haven't turned it on for shit.
I've used it.
I started off watching a lot of it.
A lot, right? Yeah, but now
then, yeah, I think it's that safety net that you know the content's there if you want it. So if you want to watch a particular film or you want a particular scene, I've probably watched like bits of Avengers movies, just gone and watched actually particular scenes, like 5-10 minutes.
Yeah, have you sat down and watched the event, or you just like, I'm just going to pick and choose these scenes and move on?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So because I've seen those movies a lot, I've gone back and watched certain scenes. But I've watched some of the old animated shows like the Spider-Man and X-Men and that kind of stuff, which is really great to have on there. Simpsons, I know is there because I'll always watch that. It's a go-to show for me. And I waited until they adjusted the format, and now they've adjusted the format back to the original. So what the Disney Plus is going to do is going to give you that new content, and that's what HBO doesn't have at the moment. So HBO is a very
give us some time.
Well, until next year. But that's the whole Zack Snyder thing. But what Disney Plus has got so much content that's going to be coming up. It's going to be one of those things that you have to stay up to date with the MCU, with Falcon.
I just don't. You know what his thing is? Yeah, like I'm just not. I get it. I'm kind of like falling off the whole major superhero franchise movies now. Does that make sense? Like I'm not. I'm just looking at it and I'm like, okay, like I think I've had my fill.
But that's why these TV shows actually might be the next best thing, because they're going to be smaller, shorter story arcs, more character driven, less epic on scale. And I think that's what you need from the last couple of movies you have. You need to bring it back down. You need to stream it back down to your characters to then rebuild it. Because
what's the next big bad?
If we need a new Captain America now,
no one knows yet, but I reckon Doom.
Yeah, so you need to fall in love back with these characters and have you believe this guy can be Captain America before you see him up on the big screen. So they're going to have to build it on Disney Plus in these smaller shows. So then by the time they do bring them back into a movie with the new Avengers or Avengers Reassemble or whatever they do with it, you are enjoying these characters for what they are.
What's his name coming back? Downey Jr. or DJ?
Oh yeah.
He apparently he makes a cameo in Black Widow.
Spoilers.
Because
spoilers.
None of us in a different time. It's set way before Black Widow's alive. That's a spoiler. Yeah. If you don't know she dead, you don't be seeing that movie. So yeah, I think he makes a cameo in there because it was filmed a long time ago. He's taking a big break from it. He will make a cameo down the road when they need the box office numbers again. They won't misuse him at that until now. If there was any film he's going to do a cameo in, it would have been Spider-Man. I'd expected him to be like a hologram or something like that, but he wasn't there, so I don't think he's going to be coming back for some time. Chris Evans, if they wanted him to do Cap stuff, he could do like the videos that we saw in Spider-Man in different, scenarios and TV shows and movies and stuff like that. But yeah, you're not going to see these guys.
Chris Evans is the only one that I've seen do anything of any value outside of the MCU recently. For me, he did a show on Apple TV called Defending Jacob.
Yeah,
watching it.
Wow, Wow, I watched the first 3 episodes in one go, and then obviously it was weekly.
Yeah, you and one other guy.
Yeah, dude, it's great. It's great. Have you seen it?
I'm just saying, I don't have Apple TV.
No.
I'm just saying that no one
I'm
has.
sure you can find it through.
Yeah, if you watch
You can
Knives
find it
Out,
anywhere you like, man.
I can't be.
By the way,
with that.
have you watched Knives Out?
Knives Out. Not yet. No.
He's good in that. He's
Great.
very
He's
good
great
in
in
that.
that.
Okay. All right.
I watched
it's
it.
out. It's out online.
Great
I can-
movie.
I can check it out,
He's
yeah.
more or less you.
dude, if you're putting me in the same category, as Chris Evans,
Trust me, when you watch it,
I don't know if you're insulting him or complimenting
No.
me.
When you watch it, you'll know what I mean. You'll, fuck you,
Okay.
fuck you, fuck you, and fuck you.
You know what? Now that you've said it, I can see it.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna lie, I can actually see it. Chris
I'm
Evans.
gonna have to.
is
I'm gonna have to
channeling
watch it.
Definitely.
You guys need to. You need to. But definitely, I totally recommend. He did that. He did another one where he was a Mossad agent in. I think it was like Morocco or Turkey, called the Red Sea Resort. It was a Netflix movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was fucking good too. Like he's done, and I harken back to like when he was in Not Another Teen Movie, and I'm like, wow, he's come so far. He's done some like, and then also, let's not forget that he was also Human Torch.
Johnny Storm. Yeah.
So I don't know. I just really like him, but I haven't seen anybody else do anything of real like credence for me to go out of my way. Okay, Chadwick Boseman in 21 Bridges.
Mm-hmm.
That was good. And then what else did they do recently? Oh, Extraction.
Yeah, Hemsworth and Extraction.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good film.
That film was sick. That 12-minute uncut scene.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd say uncut, but you know what I mean. That
I know exactly what you're on about. Yeah.
The faux long shot. Yeah, wow, that was sick. It was you that told me about it. You were like, "You need to watch this," and I was like,
that's right. I was like, Leo, check out this.
but yeah, but I haven't seen. I don't know. Anything I've seen for like WandaVision, or I never really watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., so I don't really know. I never really got into it. And
me too.
I
watched the first 3 seasons of that.
I didn't even give it that. I think I watched like 5 episodes. No, I think I watched up until the point where they told me that what's the agent, whatever his name, like he's apparently still alive, and I was like, I think that might be the first episode.
Do you know what? What's it up to when Samuel?
I was like, okay, yeah, sure, whatever.
What's it up to when Samuel Jackson's in it?
That's the first episode.
Oh,
No, he's in.
No, he comes back around.
He comes back.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm
Is Kobe
still
Smulders
watching
in it? Because I don't like her face.
Who?
Kobe Smulders.
Couple of cameos, I think.
Yeah.
Kobe
do you know what?
Smulders.
Here's what I know. I think Ming Na is in it at some point, right?
She's always in it.
Chun Li from Street Fighter.
She's always in it.
Yeah.
She's in
Yeah. She has aged like a fine wine. She's not skipped a beat in years. That girl.
I think she's done like hasn't she done the Trinity? She's done Star Wars, Star Trek, and Marvel.
No, that's Saldana.
Sorry, Star Wars, Marvel, and Star Trek. Yeah.
Who's she in Star Wars?
She's in
The Mandalorian.
Oh wait, she's the one they try to kill, right?
Yeah, Chung Li.
Yeah. I still haven't watched The Mandalorian. Is it good?
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah, it's good.
Dude, hold on. Remember,
You got Disney Plus. You haven't watched The Mandalorian.
Yeah, because when I got it, they wanted to release it weekly, and I was like, "Bun that shit! I'm not sitting down for."
Dude,
I
it's
was like,
amazing.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Check it out. Check it out.
Hold on, but I'm not really into Star Wars.
That's fine. You don't have to be.
You don't have to be. You have to be.
You don't even have to see any of them. Just watch it. Just watch it.
Okay.
Take it as it is. At face value, it's sick.
Does it leave me on a cliffhanger? Because that'll piss me off.
Not really.
Semi.
Semi.
Is it set before? It's set before, obviously, because of Baby Yoda, right?
Well,
It's
technically,
after
not a Baby
Jedi.
Yoda.
It's after Jedi.
Yeah.
So this has always been the issue. I don't know if anybody's going to agree here. And before we move on the point, like for me, like prequels have always just been redundant because it's like I know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah,
like,
but this one,
I know how it's going to end.
Yeah, this one, new characters, new part of the universe, just new thing. Just go watch it. You don't have to be into Star Wars to get it.
It does, Leo. It doesn't touch on all the stuff that kind of makes Star Wars Star Wars.
It's like next shit. It's like other shit
it's like
going on.
If you've never seen any episode of Star Wars,
doesn't matter.
Watch that and be like, okay, I know exactly what's happening. I'm good.
Yeah, because throughout the whole Star Wars thing, they make Boba Fett be like the biggest badass in the universe. But it's like, but he doesn't actually do anything. If you look back at what he actually does, nothing, zero, did nothing.
No impact.
Just all he did was die.
See, this is a thing with Boba Fett.
He was a delivery boy.
Yeah, he wasn't even that because he sucked at that, and then his delivery ended up. It's like it's as if the Hermes man.
He took it from Vader to Jabba, and that was it.
Yeah, and then
he did the job. Damn it!
He got eaten by a fucking. No, he didn't, because he tried to do that whole like I'm gonna fly up in the air and shoot people and and then boom, silent pit. Bye bye. But what were you saying? What were you saying, Neil?
Yeah, I'm like, okay, Boba Fett is basically like the character Luca Brasi in The Godfather.
Okay.
So if you watch the film The Godfather, it's like everyone's afraid of Luca Brasi. But all you see is Luca Brasi basically make a speech to the Godfather, to Leone, and then die the next time you see him. That's literally all he does. And it's like,
that's a very good comparison.
And he's like, well, what the fuck is so scary about that? And then when I read the book, The Godfather, and it gives you a little breakdown of Luca Brasi, I was like, yeah, I'm scared of him.
Never read the book, but I gotta check it out eventually.
He basically,
Book 6 pretty good.
He basically shows that he is the most ruthless killer there could possibly be. He kills.
Did they address that in Godfather 2? Is that his father?
Well, technically, the book is
in the book.
Go on.
Yeah, basically, quick rundown. In the book, he is like having sex with he has had sex with like a Irish prostitute, and she falls pregnant, and it's the time of the birth, and it's like she's on the bed giving birth, the midwife's there delivering the baby, he's in the room with like two other like Italian gangsters, and it's like he waits and the baby's born, and he just walks over to the baby and is like, he cradles the baby, and then he just runs out the room. Like, and when I say he does this, like he grabs the umbilical cord and just yanks it and then runs out the room.
Fuck.
The two Italians, they're like, what the fuck's going on? They chase after him. They chase him all the way down to the basement. And then when they burst into the room, he's just closing the door to the furnace. And then like, furnace is on, and he just turns, he looks at them, and he just says in Italian, no child of mine will ever be born like through, basically, no child of mine won't be born full Italian, and just walks out the room.
Damn, son. And at that point, you just got to just make sure she takes a tactical fall down the stairs. You'd have been all right. Oh, she tripped. Oh, well. Anyway, but yeah.
No, Evan Peters in WandaVision.
Point there.
Yeah, Evan Peters. So you heard it here first. You heard it here first. Quicksilver is in WandaVision. Okay. Moving on to the next story. I'm guessing this is Cate Blanchett.
Cate Blanchett officially joins Borderlands, the movie being directed by Eli Roth.
Okay, Borderlands.
Thoughts on Borderlands?
What is Borderlands? Are you talking about Borderlands the TV show, or Borderlands the game?
No, the video
game.
Right. Okay.
Never played the video game. Know what it is, but Cate Blanchett, she's a smoke show in 4. So
yeah, I like the video game actually.
Never played it. No, I don't know what it. I don't. I see it pop up every now and again. I don't know.
You know what? I never played Borderlands, but I know what the game is. I've seen it played. So when I saw this, when Sash sent me the link, and it said, "Oh, Cate Blanchett joins Eli Roth," and I was like, "Okay, well, Eli Roth, he's a filmmaker I like. He makes films that I enjoy." And I was like, Cate Blanchett, I was like, well, she's been in a lot of films that I've enjoyed. Well, but who's she going to play? And then I saw the character's name come up, and I immediately Googled that character. And I just I just don't know. I mean, it's the kind of thing where I have so little interest in it. I just feel like, you know what? I'll watch it when it comes out, and then I'll make a decision. I'll let the gamers who play that game all the time be the ones to lose their shit, whether they're happy.
Well, Borderlands is classed as a. I mean, I've never played the game, but isn't it like a? It's like space western type of.
Yeah, I can tell you what it is. It's basically something. You're right about this, like a space western, but it's more like it starts off like a post-apocalypse like a Mad Max sort of thing, but a little with humor. People trying to steal stuff, people trying to just live their lives, that sort of thing. There's a main guy that has like a group of people around him, and that's it really. So there's nothing major about it. You just basically walk through.
Software update.
What was that?
Sorry, that's me.
Anyway, anyway, so basically all you do.
At least it wasn't like, "Hello, thank you for logging into Pornhub."
I've lost through my throat, man. I mean, my train of thought.
Sorry,
well,
man.
you were telling us about Borderlands, the game, and
there's a game
Yeah,
quite
the game is pretty cool. It's fun. It's funny. It's also more like a story game in the sense that every time you finish a task, it'll tell you a bit of a story, and then it gives you an option which way you want to go, sort of a thing. You basically end up going the same way, no matter what you do.
Right.
But it's a fun little game. I mean, kids can play it. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
And I find it funny that they're making a movie about it. But that said, I wonder if they're going to go hardcore. Are they going to have the humor in it? I don't know.
Well, they haven't got it right this far. I mean, Mortal Kombat
so I
seems to be
imagine
still
it'll be funny.
So basically,
Yeah,
cast
should be fun.
Ryan Reynolds, and that'll be that.
Yeah, there you go. If they do that, it'll be fine. Because the main character is funny. He is idiotic. He does stupid things, and you're meant to be controlling him. And every now and again, you control a few other characters here and there.
Okay,
I mean, that goes in.
A character called Lilith.
What?
Does that?
No, right? Yeah, that's the main girl. Sorry, you were saying, Joe?
Oh, right. I think it goes into the fact that video game movies are it's still a testing ground. No one's been able to get the result they want out of any of these films apart from Mortal Kombat.
Sonic the Hedgehog. I'm just saying.
Yeah, again,
Sonic did it.
Yeah,
well,
not a bad movie.
Well, according to Sacha, Sonic is a good one, but that doesn't seem to be the consensus. But
Sonic is a good movie.
Again, it doesn't. Everyone. There was a poll like a few days ago saying that Mortal Kombat, still Mortal Kombat. No one acknowledges any of these new films, even like Detective Pikachu or Sonic or what?
I think
Pikachu was alright.
You know what the thing is, though, right? Or what my personal belief of it is that when you think about it, Mortal Kombat is the only movie based on a video game that follows the video game.
Differ on that one. Detective Pikachu did a good job, man. I'm just saying.
Well,
it actually did a spectacular job considering it was based on a game. And I will also bring Exhibit B, Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney. Well, that's a Japanese film that no one else has seen. And if you want the perfect adaptation of any video game, it's definitely Phoenix Wright. Just saying.
Hollywood blockbuster movies. You know, it's the only one that can really be. You can say like, if you played the video game from start to finish, you've got roughly the same storyline that you got in the film is Mortal Kombat with Detective Pikachu.
Hold on. Guile didn't have a Belgian accent?
No. His hair was
that not supposed to be a thing? He wasn't a ginger? Because I'm confused now.
No. He-Hawk never worked for the US, NATO.
UN. It was the UN. The United.
UN.
No, the
He-Hawk
AN.
worked
It was
for
the
the
AN.
UN.
Allied Nations. The Allied Nations. Yeah, that was what they were called. Chung Li Zhang. That's the first time you ever find out her name, by the way. And Ken Masters as well. You don't actually know what Ken's name is until that movie where they tell you. No, not Ken's name. Ryu's name. They don't ever tell you Ryu's name, Ryu's last name, until that movie where they're like, his name is Ryu Hoshi, and you're like, oh, Hoshi, nice. What were you saying?
But yeah, no, it's just like in regards
I can hear a TV in the background.
It's not TV. It's my nephew.
Oh
yeah.
no, it's not.
Yeah, I'm saying like with that, because Detective Pikachu, I only know one person who played it from like start to finish and enjoyed it. And he was like, "It's brilliant, but it's different from what he played." And I'm like, "Okay, well, you're my only source on that, so I have to defer there." With Mortal Kombat, most people know. Like who played Mortal Kombat 1, the original game, most people know that storyline. And you can say, yeah, even down to the details of like Reptile only becoming, the ninja Reptile, like towards the end of the film, that's a part of the game. He was a secret character in the game. He was just a palette swap of both Scorpion and Sub-Zero in the game.
I mean, even to the second one, kind of as well. Like, as horrible as that movie is, you had Ermac is in it. You had Jax with the metal arms.
Yeah.
Getting rid of Johnny Cage because no one really liked. Shiva was in it. Yeah, they kind of got all the hits in on that. It was just a really crap movie.
I never saw it.
What, Annihilation?
Yeah, I never saw the sequel. I actually haven't seen anything.
Just rub out the fact that I never.
No, I saw the first one and I like the first one, but I haven't seen any of the sequels or spin-offs or reboots.
Don't worry, just forget it. Forget all of them. Yeah. Just the first one. That's all you need to know. Forget the rest of them.
That said, you missed the greatest screw up of all time in Mortal Kombat Annihilation. Oh my gosh! Wow, when I noticed this, I was dying. So there's a bit where, like, obviously, Shao Kahn is like dealing with people that fail him. And like the first person he deals with is Rain. So he basically smacks Rain with his hammer, and then Rain falls into like a fire pit.
Then they reuse that cut.
The same thing happens again with Shiva, and he hits Shiva into the fire pit, but when they cut to the fire pit, it's literally just Rain falling in again. And obviously, like, you can tell there's a difference between Rain.
I cannot explain to you like how bad that movie actually is. It's like, for a film that was so good to then go to this, it's like, why did you do it? Why did you make this movie? Nobody asked for it. Stop. It's because it ends on a cliffhanger, the first one.
But the first one ends perfectly, because I'm like, even though it's a cliffhanger, it's like, if you know the games and you understand it, it's like, well, the beginning of Mortal Kombat 2 is Shao Kahn's just like, fuck it, let's go. Like, I don't forget these tournament rules. I'm doing my business.
But even what's his name's not in it.
Christopher Lambert.
Yeah, he's not in it. He was like, nah, I'm out.
Like, what's her name? Who plays Sonya Blade? The Sonya Blade.
He was quite literally, I don't think so.
Yeah, literally, yeah. Imagine they tried to get him to sign the contract. Yeah. Guys like, because I don't. But the Sonya Blade is different. Jax is different. Because if you remember, Jax in the first one's a completely separate dude. Yeah. So Jax is different. Sonya Blade is different. Who else is different in that movie? Oh, Johnny Cage. Johnny Cage is different.
No, Johnny Cage is the same guy, but he just dies.
No, it's not. No, 100% no. You are negative, my friend. Negative, sir. You need to check it out. Google it. Go on IMDb. I'll tell you, see right now, it's a different dude. Negatory. It's a different dude. And also, he still has his glasses. Remember at the beginning of the second one, he has glasses. Yeah, but Goro crushed him, and he's like, "You got $500 sunglasses, asshole." And after he punched him in the balls.
Well, that was a good trip down memory lane.
You know what? I'm starting to realize why Joe never has me on as often, because I will just tangent your conversation, bro.
I haven't had you on because I haven't done it. Okay, so Borderlands, no one really knows about.
So you can see that Neil's trying to check to see if I'm right.
You're right. It's a different guy.
I know it's a different actor. You don't have to fucking tell me, bro. I know.
Is this Johnny Cage, right?
Yeah, Johnny Cage is different actor. You know what it is, though, for me? Is because I own Mortal Kombat 1 and I watch it on a regular basis. I'm like, yeah, I'm cool with that. I know. Mortal Kombat 2 is like, I watched it, and then I watched it one other time when I noticed the thing about the whole the poor editing, right. And then I never watched it again.
Yo, just real quick, before we move on, you started talking about video games and characters. Shout out to Mortal Kombat putting RoboCop into the Aftermath DLC. Like, have you all seen that? Have you seen what RoboCop is like in that?
Yeah. How does he play?
You know what? I played a little bit with on Parsec with Ibs. You know what Parsec is? Yeah, Ibs. Yeah. So me and Ibs played a little bit on Parsec, but it was a bit laggy. But he is very good, and everyone was really happy. And the finishes that he has with Ed 209, like he pops in and shit, it's fucking amazing. He just says to me, why, like Louise, my girlfriend, she was like, RoboCop doesn't move like that. He can't move like that. So because she's seen him just like, you know, when he's just like taking step by step by step. It's like he doesn't move like this. That's impossible. But
I guess they have to take liberties with of how fast
yeah.
character can
But
move.
you know, that also says to you, where is the new RoboCop game? Because that's what we all want. Like, everyone was super excited. It should happen. That's the problem. That's
interesting fact about the RoboCop movie. So the first day of filming with the RoboCop character was him catching the keys as he walks through.
Oh right.
They spent the whole day on that take because he couldn't catch the keys. Whole day filming to capture that because he never worn the suit before. He couldn't see through the visor.
And they changed it on him as well.
Whole day shooting for that one scene.
They told him last minute. They were like, Peter Weller didn't know that he was supposed to be robotic and how clunky the suit was going to be because he had practiced with like a coach for how he was going to move. And then on the final day, they were like, oh, by the way, we're changing it up and you're going to be like a Frankenstein movie now. And he's like, oh, this is really frustrating. And anytime he was in the car, you saw him in the car, he was never wearing the bottom part of the, because he would fit. So it's just basically like RoboCop from the waist up and then denim from the waist down.
Leo, speaking of RoboCop, Leo, you blew my mind with something today. I think it was today. You were talking about RoboCop and you were talking about the gun that they
yes
me with.
Yes, 100%.
Still in the office at the end when
yes. So all right, just for some people who didn't see it, right? I know we're talking about other shit, but I don't care. RoboCop. We've all seen RoboCop, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Right. RoboCop takes place in a 4-month span, right? The movie of RoboCop takes place in November 2043 through to February 2044, right? So it's a 4-month span. So we know this, right? We know that, first off, why was Ed 209 fully loaded with a full arsenal of bullets to go in for a boardroom presentation? And then he malfunctions and shoots Mr. Kinney to oblivion when he throws the nickel-plated Desert Eagle on the floor. Do you remember this? Everyone remember this at the beginning?
Yeah.
Okay, so in the boardroom, right? The malfunction. Fine. Okay, so from that point onwards, he like intercepts Dick Jones, speaks to the old man. He says to him, like, we at Security Concepts have our own contingency. It gets this exact same thing, and I'm confident we can go to prototype within 90 days. Okay, so that's 90 days. That's 3 months, right? So essentially, right? So so you have to then conclude that, like, from that point onwards, Alex Murphy dies either that day or a few days later, and then he is taken by OCP and turned into RoboCop in those 90 days, right? So in 90 days, and then if it takes place in 4 months, that means that the events of from him becoming RoboCop to him shooting Dick Jones has to be another month, right? Are you all with me so far?
Yeah.
Okay, right. Okay, Joe, I'll explain it just real quick. The movie takes place in 4 months, yeah?
Gotcha. I got that much. I'm with you, but okay. I haven't seen the movie in like 15 years.
Okay, for them to create RoboCop, for him from the point that he's dead, from the point that Clarence Boddicker and his crew shoot RoboCop to the point that RoboCop walks into the police station and can't catch the car keys, yeah?
Right.
Is 3 months, right? Which means that from the point of the fact that he can't catch car keys to the point that he goes into the boardroom at the end of RoboCop and shoots Dick Jones out of the window is another month, right?
Right.
So that's 4 months. So what you're saying, and then at the end of that scene, if you remember, Dick Jones grabs the gun and holds the old man hostage, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
That's the same gun from the boardroom scene at the beginning. He pulls it out of the box, which means in 4 months, OCP did never remove a loaded weapon from that boardroom. But one person, I was saying there, I was going, he pulls it out the same box, it's the same gun. So OCP, in a boardroom meeting, put an Ed 209 fully loaded prototype with a man who does not know how to hold a gun. They gave him a loaded nickel-plated Desert Eagle, and they gave him this gun to point it at the fucking Ed 209. And if you watch that scene, the Ed 209 goes, drop the weapon, and he throws this gun on the floor with one and abandon, right? So like, okay, so we're just throwing guns now. So he throws this gun, Ed 209 doesn't hear it, shoots him to death, and then they pull the wires out and whatever, right? So then somebody, think of a chain of events. Somebody had to take that gun. Either that room turned into a crime scene or it didn't, okay? So they took that gun, put it back in the box, and left that box there for 4 months, right? Think about that,
It's a boardroom gun.
Yeah.
Why not?
No, but it's a nickel plate. Listen, I ain't never been to a boardroom and they got a nickel plate. It doesn't equal loaded. By the way, a loaded.
Look, in my line of work, no, joking.
Bro, guys,
I'll be honest.
Joe, for the love of God, have this rant as a separate thing.
It's not even. No, hold on, listen.
Bro.
It's not even. It's so stupid because it's not even in like. It's not even just like. It's in a second oak box with a red velvet lining. Like the guy's sitting in that box.
You know what I feel like? You know what, Leo? You know what I feel like, right? I'm like, I just feel like if Trump gets elected again, he's gonna have that same box with that same gun in there when he's having meetings with like the Joint Chiefs of Staff. It's just like, instead of being like, "Oh, you're fired," he's gonna be like, "Could you repeat that?" And then just stand up and just casually stroll to the box.
Honestly, I was just thinking about the logic, like, because they probably would just like, they probably shot that and they were just like, "Oh, okay, yeah, just grab the gun. Oh, the gun from the boardroom. So yeah, cool, point it at the old man there, whatever." RoboCop can't do anything to Jink Jones because of the Directive 4. And so he's like, and then the old man says, "Dick, you're fired." Then he goes, "Thank you," and then shoots him, and then he falls out with his long arms.
They probably filmed it in the same series of days.
Yeah.
From the same day. I mean,
yeah, probably. But my point is, no one ever, script supervisor was like, "Hold on a minute, guys. This gun was in here for 4 months."
Okay, but if the gun wasn't there, you'd have been like, continuity. Where the hell did that gun come from?
No,
Exactly.
it wouldn't, because the room would have. No, because you could understand that a man of Dick Jones's position, given that he would probably have a holstered gun, maybe a snub 38. That's a little bit more realistic.
This is Detroit, dude. Detroit. Detroit.
Yeah, but
Detroit 24
they're about to
years
knock
from
that
now.
shit down and build Delta City. My point is my guy, like, basically OCP is the biggest of clusterfuck of $1 billion company that exists. Because, like, do you know what the old man says when Mr. Kinney gets shot into oblivion at that boardroom?
Disappointed in you.
He says, "I'm extremely disappointed in you." That's all he says. He doesn't say anything else. Just says, "I'm very
Okay, you've seen
disappointed."
Detroit now, yeah? You don't think in 2043 every boardroom is not going to have a gun?
Very good point. But they didn't
I'm
know
quite sure
that.
Every boardroom does have a gun now.
But this is what I've
pretty
been
bad.
saying. Like, I've been comparing what's been going on in the world right now to RoboCop and RoboCop 2. Like, so in Minneapolis, they want to disband the police force and create a new police force. And I was like, do you guys remember in RoboCop 2 when they took RoboCop, deleted his prime directives, and shoved all those other directives in here? And then he literally ran thousands of volts through his body to make that shit go away because it doesn't work. So that's what you guys are going to do. Life will imitate art, because that's what's going to happen. I don't mean to get too political in it, but basically Paul Verhoeven predicted the future. Like, between him and Matt Groening, they just got this shit on lock, man. I'm telling you. What's that? My plans 2020. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Because that's what's happening. I just think it's hilarious. But that's what Neil was referencing today. Not even today. I watched it yesterday, and I was just like, yeah, RoboCop has so many issues as a movie, but it's still perfect. But that's one of the main. Like, the other one was like, just real quick, when he goes into the store, right? It's one of the first things he does when they activate him, and that guy's like robbing the store. Remember, and he knocks over the beer cans.
Yeah.
And the safe is underneath, and then he's like, "Fuck me," and he's like shooting at RoboCop, and then RoboCop grabs the barrel of the gun and bends the barrel.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like, okay, that's impossible. You can't do that. For him to do that,
He's
need to have
RoboCop.
equal force.
He's RoboCop.
No, you have to have equal force holding the gun on the other side. So that guy would have had to have been as strong, if not more, than RoboCop to hold on to that gun.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
and like, or when he shoots the girl through the leg to shoot the guy in the cock, how does he know that girl's not transgender? We're in 2020 and we have traps going around right now. So how does he know that she ain't got a dick? He's just he assumed her gender. That's
you make a good case.
Bro, I could pick that movie apart. I've seen it so many times, but every
You could
part
pick.
of me loves
You could
that
pick
film.
every movie. Every movie is pickable.
Apart.
Pickable.
Not really.
apartable.
There are some films. There are
No,
some
every
films you
movie.
can't.
If they're not documentaries, you can pick them apart.
Oh,
No,
so
you can even pick
some
apart
documentaries,
documentaries
pick
because
some
they sometimes mess up.
They leave out crucial stuff
Right,
to
right,
change
right.
their
yeah.
narrative.
Like I tell you
Fair
what.
enough.
The
So
best
there
one you
goes
can
my
pick
argument.
apart- The best one you can pick apart is that bitch, Carol Baskin.
You know what? Do you
And
know
now
what?
she has his zoo.
Yes,
I know.
Oh my God. When I read that, I was just like, oh. Do you know? There was a funny thing that somebody shared. They shared a picture of that Jeff Lowe guy, and then they shared a picture of her first husband, and then they took the pictures and melded them, like put them together side by side. It looks like the same dude.
No.
Yeah, they look so much alike. Whilst you guys discuss, I'm gonna find it. Hold on 1 second.
What's the next topic, Joe?
The next topic is God, I can't even find it.
Josh Boone says
Josh
he wants New Mutants to be a trilogy.
No, sorry, Josh.
Josh Boone needs to get his first movie out, yeah?
This
Finished filming in September. This finished filming in September 2017. Okay.
Before Game of Thrones finished.
They did reshoots this year. The movie's still not out. He's talking about a trilogy. Go fuck yourself, okay?
I'm like, you know what? For me,
You know what? I think Josh Boone has had a bad ride with this movie because you know what? He made the movie he wanted to make, which was an R-rated New Mutants
horror,
movie.
yeah.
And you know what? To be quite honest, me and Joe said on a podcast we saw like the previs stuff for Demon Bear, and it looked fucking great. I was
if
that translate well in that movie, you got my money.
People aren't ready for this.
Yeah,
people just aren't ready for the Demon Bear.
Point being is, Fox looked at it because they were like, "Hey, is it going to be share universe? Is it going to be this? Is it going to be that?" And they wanted to do reshoots to accommodate Fox plans. Then
real quick, while are you doing this? Can I just show you this shit?
Yeah,
where you guys at? Where you at?
Is this a segue? Is it?
Yo,
no, this is the.
Okay,
right,
dude.
He
disappeared.
Carla Baskin's husband. That's what he's trying to show us.
I see it.
The past one and the present one.
Yeah, I see that.
Tell me they don't look alike, guys.
Carol put that work in, boy. She's a witch doctor.
I guess so.
Man, tell me those cunts don't look alike. They look so much alike.
Well,
anyway, go on, Sach. You were saying?
But like, if you think about New Mutants, yeah, if they're going to do a sequel, it's going to have to pick up 4 or 5 years after the film because look how much older everyone is.
Yeah, everyone's like no longer
Arya,
teens.
the girl who played like Arya Stark in Game of Thrones, she's so much older now, and it's just like it's going to be weird. I mean, I really want to see it because I was really intrigued by the first trailer.
Yeah.
But I don't think they've still decided. Have they decided if it's on a platform release yet?
No, it's coming out.
No, it's coming cinema.
Cinema. It's gonna have a cinema release. So they're gonna have to go through all the press and thing. I don't know if they're gonna bother doing a premiere. Depending when they release this.
Next year.
It's gonna be next year now.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. That's gonna be like 5 years after it was filmed.
You know what?
At least 4 years.
As wide as
after.
You know what they're probably better off doing?
Date.
You know what they're probably better off doing, as wild as it sounds? Just getting all that cast together again and be like, look, we're gonna reshoot the whole movie,
Well, that's the thing. They've done the reshoots in March. So how that's gonna tie? Yeah, I don't know. It sounds like a mess. But
it's gonna look like Superman 2. It's gonna look like Superman 2. You know when you see certain scenes and it's like the suit's darker and he's a little more buff, and they're like,
Did you say? Who are you talking about here? We talking about New Mutants? Did you say?
Yeah.
Right. I thought you were talking about New Warriors.
Oh no!
They're a Marvel thing. New Warriors are a Marvel thing.
One second. Update. August 28th, 2020 is when New Mutants is coming out.
It's coming out.
Right, so they're going to hit that.
So it's going to flop.
It's a very good time because obviously cinemas are just going to be coming back in. Okay. A lot of films got delayed in production. People are going to want to get out to the cinema, so it's a good opportunity because it's not something they can put on Disney Plus. And it's like, you know what? Let's see what it can do.
Mm-hmm.
It depends what it does if there's going to be a sequel or not.
I think any money that it makes is better than no money.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's true.
Exactly.
But I think for Disney, is they don't have to really give a shit about it because it's not going to be a loss, so to speak, because they don't even really, it's just whatever money they put into promoting the film.
For marketing, yeah.
Yeah, for the marketing, because the film was made, the film was finished, right? Even though they had to do reshoots, I'm like,
yeah, that was on Fox time.
Yeah, that was on Fox's money. So they're just like, let man put the film out. It'll make a little money, whatever money it makes, like we'll put a little. We're gonna use this money to put a bronze statue of Bob Iger in the front of Disney Plaza, since he's gone now.
Yeah, well, again, I think I'm going to merge in two questions that I had, which was, will people go back to the cinema for Tenet? I think if Tenet is a driving force for that, I think more people, and they see people going in and out of the cinema. I think that will be a plus for any film that comes after. Because I mean, Christopher Nolan, he just seems like, yep, I want it released on this date. I want it released on this day. He's never back on that date. No. He clearly knows something that we don't.
He's in that tax bracket where they get told information.
yeah, I guess so. Yeah, but
all I'll say is that I think, because it might sound crazy, or it might sound rude or crude or whatever the fuck it is, but I think his outlook is he wants his film in the cinema that date, but he's already seen the film, right? Yeah. He doesn't need to go to the cinema to watch the film, right? He probably has a cinema in his house. So, he is like, no, the film's coming out that day. And they'll be like, but, the pandemic, and they'll be like, look, they'll go and see my movie. They'll be like, look, I made Batman.
I don't think he's that obnoxious, but I think
I like it's like if you build it, they will come.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, he clearly is a director that shoots for a cinema screen, and he wants it. Yeah. He wants people to experience in that, whether it makes money in the cinema or not.
Yeah, IMAX particularly, isn't it?
Yeah, IMAX. Yeah, I don't know how Warner Brothers feels about that, but they seem to be behind him, and so all I can say is that
that's because he gets them money and he gets them Oscars. They will freaking trim his toe hairs. Right, they will trim his toe hairs. He makes them that much money and that much freaking acclaim.
What's this new film about? I couldn't quite catch.
Time travel.
That's what it's about.
When you saw the trailer for Inception, what did you think it was about? Exactly.
Not dreams.
Yeah,
dreams. What I mean.
And I haven't watched the second trailer for Tenet. I've heard that it doesn't really give much away either.
No.
But I don't want to go to this movie knowing anything.
Right. I've seen the second.
I'm with you.
I think you'll know less after watching the second trailer.
Right. Yes. So I want to go in.
Mate, that's pretty hard to do. I know pretty fuck all. I know a lot less now.
The second trailer just confirmed a lot of things I was thinking already.
Yeah. See, I don't know anything. I like it.
It's like, it feels like I was looking at it. I'm like, it feels like future travel, but not future travel.
It's not time. It's
you know
not
what?
time
Do you know
travel.
what? You know when they're doing things. Okay, so the only best way I can explain it is. Has anyone? You've all seen Bill and Ted, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember the scene where Bill and Ted are standing outside the police station of the San Dimas police station, and they say they're talking to each other about getting the car keys and leaving them behind the sign? They were like, "Oh, but if we get the car keys and then leave it by the sign and go back in time and tell each other, then the sign will be there. The keys will be there." And they look and they go, "Oh, there they are." Like that's what it felt like when I was watching this. It's kind of like if you say it, it will be so because you may have. Because you saying it makes the time travel have happened in the first place, and now it is.
Yeah,
I don't. But it's the film's not about time travel.
But it kind of looks like it's about time travel.
But it's not. It states it in the second trailer. There's a specific term that they use. It's not time travel.
See, now I'm gonna be like the asshole and just say that it's just that like convoluted way of saying it's time travel. Is like I'm gonna say it's not time travel, but it's you having the ability to live through events that haven't happened yet, or events that have happened, and you're just kind of rewinding it and fast forward it. But it's not time travel. I'll be like.
Bro, I'm not even going to lie to you. I don't even want to know anything. After watching Avengers Avengers Endgame, and them explaining how, like, my literal response was the same as Ant-Man's. And he was like, so all those films are a bunch of bullshit? That's how I felt. Like, legitimately. But I don't need another film ruining it even further for me, okay? I just don't.
Okay, what about the point of going back to the cinema though? Would you guys? When are you guys?
I'm going. I've already planned it out. I'm going with one of my mates that I used to work with. I'm going to live stream it if I can, going into the cinema, not the film.
Do you reckon
I was
they'll
going to
social
say your
distance
podcast will
people
be shut
inside
down
there?
pretty quick.
Do you reckon they'll social distance you? They'll be like, okay,
believe
there's
they'll
6
try
seats
to.
between people.
Yeah, I believe they'll try to social distance. But the thing is, I've kind of gotten into that habit unless I had no choice. So it's something like, you know, Avengers or Star Wars, where it's like I'm going to a midnight screen. I kind of made that decision of going to the cinema at times when virtually no one's there to begin with, because
same.
I'm not a big fan of people, right? But it's like what I was doing is I'm just gonna do that. And they're like, oh, you know, okay, the cinemas are open. I'm like, what's the first screening? Oh, it's 11:40 a.m. Thank you, I'll take that.
I think it will take time for people to become comfortable again, but I think that's what Tenet will do. One, it's people are interested in the film. Two, some people will go, and then after word of mouth, I think you'll get more week by week. You'll get more and more because there's going to be a tapered film release. A staggered film release.
And that's the key point, right? Because what's going to happen is this is the type of movie that you don't want spoiled. Yeah. So you have to go see it in its first couple of weeks. But because there's not going to be much content for the cinemas, they'll have it on like 5 screens.
Yeah.
Because
they'll also have it for like 4 months.
Yeah. And the reason being as well is every screen, if you've got 400 seats, you're only going to be able to have a capacity of maybe 200, maybe 150. Yeah, so your capacity levels are going to be way down. So you're going to have it as many screens as possible, and it will drive people who don't. A Christopher Nolan film is almost like an event film now.
Yeah,
especially when it's a brand new topic. You know, Dunkirk is kind of not necessarily because you know it's a war film. You kind of know what it's about, so it's either for you or not. But so many people loved Inception. It's like this is something new again. We don't get a lot of original film and content. I want to go see this, and I'm like that. I'm like, I want to see this. I don't want it spoiled. But I'll be mindful of when I go and how the cinemas are doing it. It will be.
Yeah, I will say that it does look like a super original movie. It's like you don't normally see. That's why I love Parasite so much, because it was such an original concept.
Yeah,
and I'm like, man, that film was so fucking good. You know, because I just hadn't seen anything like it, and I hope that from what I've seen by Tenet, like I've seen the trailers, and I kind of don't know what's going on, but. I tell you what, all right, you know when you said about Inception, Joe, yeah? You were like, oh, what did you think when you saw the trailer? I saw the trailer and was like, I don't know what this film's about, and I wasn't interested in it. And then how wrong I was when I went to go watch it. Somebody was like, let's go watch Inception. I was like, okay, fine. And I went to watch it, and I was like, damn, this film's fucking awesome. And I get it, and I'm in, and I'm like, why did I just prejudge that film by its horrible trailer?
I love the trailers. I love the trailers for Inception, but that's
do you know what? Mentally, I was in a different place in 2009. Like my brain I hadn't really like understood film the way I did. Like it was fucking 11 years ago. So you know, my the way I understand movies then and the way I understand now are completely different. Like at that time, I used to love Top Gun because it was rock and roll in the sky. And now I realize it's just a gay film. I came around to Quentin Tarantino's explanation of it it took me a long time to realize it. And I was like, yeah, he's totally right.
Top Gun was ahead of his time.
It was definitely ahead.
Funny story about that. Just real quick, I remember watching the special features of it, and the one thing that always stuck with me was all the actors had like gone out right for like drinks and stuff, whatever, with the pilots to like these bars, because obviously they're interacting with the pilots. And then I think it was Val Kilmer that explained it. He was like, there's different levels of egos. There's like actors' egos, there's rock star egos, and then there's pilot egos. And it's like, you know, because you're piloting like a $30 million plane at supersonic speed, and they're smart as well. They're not like bros. They're like bros with PhDs. Yeah. Right. So he was like, oh, I remember coming home one night and I had this like bruise on my chest, and it was this like circular bruise, and it was like a 50-cent piece size bruise. And I was wondering where it came from, and then somebody else told me it was basically one of the pilots pointing at my chest, telling me like, just talking to him like, I know you're an actor, but I'm a pilot, and blah, 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 just poking him in his chest vigorously the whole night.
That's
fun
hilarious.
fact about Top Gun. Man.
A film that I'm going to go see at the cinema, Maverick. Oh shit!
Maverick, yeah. December.
That film, man.
Okay,
that looks good.
So I think
that looks
for a
real
film
good.
Podcast, we have to address this, yeah. Like, for people that know me online, which is pretty much all of you, except for maybe Solomon and Joseph, because he hasn't got Facebook anymore. But I've been like proper anti-Chinese Communist Party, right? And everything that tyrannical regime.
Oh, for, okay? right. Okay, gotcha.
So for the influence that they have on the film business right now is dangerous. Like, I don't know if anybody's noticed.
No, I know what you mean.
No,
it
is.
You know,
I know what you mean.
Like what they're doing. Like why does like certain Marvel films take place in Hong Kong? Why? No one cares. Why do Star Wars films? They like remove John Boyega from the poster.
Yeah.
Because they don't like black people in China, right? So they've removed him from the poster. And Disney said nothing. Just to appease the Chinese market. Like
well, they could have removed him in the second and third movies, it wouldn't have made a difference.
But you get what I'm saying though, right? They removed like one of the major stars from the movie because of his color of his skin, because that's just fucking China. And like so many movies are just showing up, like have places, or a Chinese actress like the Meg. Why does she have to be a Chinese actress? Why? Because
it was made by the Chinese company.
Yeah, exactly. H Brothers, right? It's the one you see all the time. They have nothing to do with the movie, but because for them to show that film in that country, because of the way the Communist Party works, like they can only show like 38 foreign films a year, or 12 foreign films a year, whatever, unless a production company has been involved in it. That's Chinese. Therefore, it does not fall into a foreign film category. It falls into a Chinese film, and they edit it for Chinese markets.
That's true, but H Brothers are actually putting in a lot of money into these movies. Like,
of course they're putting a lot of money in. They're putting a lot of money in because they can turn the Chinese market can turn around and say that's our movie because we made it. You know, they're doing the same thing. You know, that's why. And so basically, fuck Maverick. I will stream that movie through Caesar Palace, and that is how I will watch that movie. I'm bringing him back, and that is how I will watch that movie, specifically because of the way they are doing, the way the CCP is running on films. You know, it's so dangerous, man.
Yeah, I tell you like this, right? when the time comes and that film comes out, right? Either Tuesday or a Wednesday, me and you will go to watch it on a Meerkat Wednesday thing in Cineworld, where it's completely free for everyone.
Well, I'll just hit up my contact at View, innit? I know some people do it. I know a guy, innit? I'll just call him.
I think I guess maybe it just missed me, but I never gave a shit about Top Gun. I never cared. I've watched it, and I was just like, It's nothing
about Michael Bay films before Michael Bay films or Michael Bay films.
Yeah,
It's a Bruckheimer movie.
It's a Tony Scott film. Tony Scott made that look. The look that we know is the Michael Bay look. It's a Tony Scott look.
Do you want to know? Do you want to know how about looks that you mentioned that again, just on the tangent? Tony Scott in the beginning shot of that movie, you know, you got the planes landing on the airline carrier.
Never seen the film.
Okay, right at the beginning of the film, you have.
I've not seen.
It's okay.
Top Gun.
Some people haven't.
I've seen lots of clips of Top Gun, so I know. I more or less know the whole film.
So the intro to that movie with the Harold Faltermeyer theme tune playing, right? You got these planes and they're prepping to take off the airline character somewhere in the middle of the Indian Ocean, and it's filmed on the backdrop of the sunset, or the sunrise or sunset, like beaming onto the plane. So you got like this silhouette of the F-14 Tomcat prepping and getting ready to take off, and it's really like atmospheric and depthy or whatever. Well, as they were guests on that ship, the captain had to turn it to go in whatever direction they were going, and fucked up Tony Scott's shot. So Tony Scott, on a cherry picker, went up to the bridge and said, "How much will it cost me to rent this airline carrier for 4 minutes, and that's all I need. And they told him they worked out like 25 grand, and he was like, "Cool." Wrote them a check for 25 grand and told them to turn it around.
Oh shit!
Just realize the fuck you money you have to turn around to the captain of an airline character in the fucking US Navy and give him a $25,000 fucking check and tell him to turn this ship around so I can get my shot.
Question: is that a DVD extra?
Yes, it is.
I am buying the film now.
All right, okay.
It's on the DVD. It's on the DVD extras. That's how I have the 20th anniversary or whatever the fuck it is, and that's where I saw it, and I just thought that was a really interesting piece of information.
That's an endorsement from Leo van-dammage about Top Gun. I'm going to move it forward because we're
fuck Maverick because it's right because of CCP.
So yeah, we're around the 2 hours mark now.
Yeah. Where's Sach? Oh, there he is. Sach. Oh yeah, here he is. Okay, so Lilly, how do you pronounce her name? Lilly Wachowski. Explains her exit from her Hollywood exit.
Is this Wachowski? As in
Wachowski.
This was the bald. This is the bald one, the bigger guy, or was the bigger guy, the taller one and the bigger one. I didn't read this article, so you're gonna have to.
You might as well merge these last two questions.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that was kind of the thing. This kind of segues into earlier stuff we've talked about studio interferences and stuff. But yeah, he, I don't know, but
she.
Yeah, she. Okay. Yeah, she's basically fed up with the way films are made. Her exact quote was, "I got in when films in general were at their peak, before boardroom members and marketeers found their way to wrangle movies. Eventually, all those people and institutions will end up in the room with you, specifically behind the typewriter, behind the lens, and sometimes behind the edit. And it created a lot of tension for me and my sibling professionally, and it got to breaking point with me, and I just felt I had to walk away." And yeah, she kind of mentions her dissatisfaction for Jupiter Ascending and how it doesn't feel like a movie they actually made. Mm-hmm. So, which kind of shows, because that movie looked like a Stephen Sommers movie and not a Wachowski brothers movie or Wachowski siblings movie. Mm-hmm. I mean, that movie sucked hard, and fair dues. It's to say, fair dues. It's exactly, well, they had a contract with Warner Brothers, and kind of, well, the DC films kind of show exactly where that attitude's gone, in terms of having someone in marketing, like you said, trying to appease like the Chinese to shove a certain kind of agenda down people's throats to have it marketed in other territories and whatnot. And yeah, man, I mean, what you guys' thoughts on like where the studio should butt in with films and where that should be left to the directors?
Torn on
personally for me, I think whenever you make a movie, all this shit needs to be aired there. The agreements need to be aired before you go and make the movie.
They usually are, by the way.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say, like, I'm torn because on one hand, obviously, you want artistic freedom. Artistic freedom gives you films such as Inception or a lot of Tarantino's work and things. However, filmmaking is a business, and as it's a business, it needs to be done in a business way. These people don't give a fuck about your artistic vision. They want to know how much money are you going to make them. That is probably a conversation that it's probably every question they ask, everything like, so how would you do this? And what's your take on this? All they're really thinking about is, okay, is everything you're going to tell me, what is the amount of money that I'm roughly going to get from you telling me all of this? That's all that they really care about, right?
That's not only it, but you have a lot of marketers.
If we're talking about, like, it's like, a film like, say, Brick, right? Where it's like, this is completely the director's vision or something. If it's a film that they don't really have to put a lot of money in, like a film studio spending $20 million is like the equivalent of a regular person spending like £20. Right? It's not a big amount of money. It's not a big thing. But then on top of that, they're like, okay, how much money do I need to spend to get maximum profit back. If I need to spend 40 million to get 40 million back, I'm not happy. If I spend 40 million and I get 140 million back, no, I'm good. I'm gold. I'm happy. Everything is peachy. But it's like when we're talking about, you know, the way producers are involved and all of these things, right? Well, that is the natural progression of any money-making business. Is the more money you make, the more money that is now available, it's going to cost more money-orientated people to enter that conversation.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, no, the film business is no different to any other business. It's the same as a retail business, right? It's the same as if you're a retail manager is like the director. Yeah. So you have your cast, you have your crew, you have everything around you, and you need to run that to make it a profit. Yeah. Then you've got your managers above you who will question what you're doing. Is it the right thing? Actually, could you have done that for cheaper? You're actually going over your budgets. You're going over your spend. Your margins aren't what they should be. So you need to promote this instead. You need to push this particular product and this particular line because that's what's going to make the money, not the stuff that you're pushing at the front of the store. And then your directors come with the overriding budgets and stuff like that. It's the same with the movie. So as much as you got a director who's like, I want to do it my way, unless your studio has given them a blank check because of what they've done previously or the money they've made before, they said this is, you know, completely yours, you're going to have these checks and balances. You know, there's not many directors this day and age who will get a free ride. You're talking like those who are directors and big producers like Spielberg's and like Nolan and stuff like that, and Tarantino. They know what they're getting with them, so they let them get on with it. Anybody else is subject to answer to somebody else because it's all about profit margins, and it is all about. But producers can have a positive impact as well. You know, and we often talk about the producers having negative impacts, but often they can have a strong impact. They can actually guide the direction. They can see something maybe going out of control. There's no consistency. The cohesiveness in there, what's been written on the pages and actually what's being filmed, as they might jump in. You know, we heard a lot about Star Wars and like Solo, you know, where the guys were ad-libbing and they weren't sticking to the script. And so the producers, you know, come in and say, look, we gave you a script. You should be sticking to that. That's what we agreed. So as much as you're going off and ad-libbing and trying to add your own flavor, you're not doing enough of the core content. And it's exactly going to be the same for the Wachowskis. I think they were given a lot more free license on stuff with Netflix. So like Sense8, I think is a fantastic series.
Yeah, that was great. I love Sense8.
Really great. You know, I think Matrix, for me, it's a bad idea to revisit this. I think it's going to feel very old. It's going to feel very tired. I don't think there's enough innovation from what it was to what it needs to be now, and I think it's going to feel like a straight to DVD type movie, or stream.
Oh, you think so? You think so?
Yeah, I just don't think it's. I don't think it's going to be what people want it to be, and it's the expectation levels. You know, because 2 and 3 is very hit and miss with people. Some people really like it, some people don't. Some people prefer the second or third. They might have a preference over the 2. They don't necessarily have an issue with the action, but the way the story, how Neo at the end, so many unanswered questions. And if it doesn't answer these questions, people are like, well, what's the point? If it does answer them, and it's not what people want to hear, it's not what they thought it should be, they won't like it. You know, it's like trying to do a sequel to Inception and saying what it meant at the end. Was it a dream or not? People don't want an answer to certain things because actually you're just going to divide it further. For me, I think it is just a money grabbing scheme. They're seeing the nostalgia effect it can have, and I just don't think it's going to do what they think it's going to do.
If I can give you guys a little insight, what usually happens is that before a project is sent to go, a bunch of marketers, idiots like me, get this sent to you, and you go like, all right, find out if you can what the market says about it. Now, you don't have any budget to actually do a massive marketing research. So what you tend to do is you do spot checks. So you do small groups across the country, very small ones, trying to see what the general idea is, what they are the willing, not willing, would they be hoping for such a thing. So you introduce this idea in a way that hopefully they'll say yes as well. And then you sort of talk to them about the elements they would like to see within the project. And that gets sent to the studio. And then the studio then, what I call, talks to the directors and the producers. Now, technically, producers not only work for the directors, but they also have an oversight of the directors as well. It's kind of funny. So directors demand something, producers delivers, and sometimes the other way around. It's like, look, you can't do this. You got to do that. But generally, when the titles are go from the studio point of view, they have an army of marketers telling them, look, this might not work, this might work, this might work. And the producers have to defend all of those barrage of ideas from overcoming the project and filter those ones that they believe might work. So it's a two-way fight. It's not just
a perfect example.
Thing.
A perfect example of that is BVS and Justice League, because BVS came out. Justice League was like a week away from starting filming, and then all the negative stuff coming out of BVS, and they were like, "We need to change this. You can't do the same thing that you just done."
And
what about how much did they have involvement in the first Matrix? Like studios have involvement.
They had complete control over all the films.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because what they did, they were given a budget. They were given a budget for the first Matrix, and what they did, they knew what they wanted in their mind, aka bullet time. So what they did, they took that budget, they spent it all on the Trinity shot. When you see bullet time for the first time, they took that to Joel Silver, and then Joel Silver looked at it and he was like, "Yeah, how much you want for the rest of the movie?"
Yeah, how
I
much
don't know what I'm buying. His exact quote was, "I don't know what I just saw, but here's a check. Just go nuts, because this is shit no one's ever seen before."
Oh, you see, I legit thought that it was like not indie, obviously, but I thought they had like a smaller budget and they just managed to do a lot with it.
No, they
and
did
then
have
the studio didn't really know what they were doing, so they let them have free reign.
No, they had. Okay, so what happened was they approached the studio first with the Matrix, and they were like, "Well," but they hadn't written.
You're going to talk about Bound, aren't you?
Yeah, they did Bound, the movie Bound.
Oh yeah, with Joe Pantoliano and the lesbians. Yeah,
that's right. They did that movie just to show we've done a movie. Now, can we do the Matrix kind of thing? And that
you can do. I love how it's like we can do a movie with lesbian fingering and it's good and tasteful.
But by the way, the other thing is the Matrix movie changed the contracts that actors usually had with studios, and that people got paid less, but they got share of the profits, which most actors never did.
I heard. So you know the guy who plays Tank.
Oh yeah, he went crazy, right?
Yeah. So I actually watched the video today about that.
Oh really?
He was kicked off. So basically, he was trying to renegotiate. They offered him $450,000 to $500,000 for him to be into the next sequels. He turned it down. He wanted $1 million with the same level of press coverage, and he was like, "Yeah, no, I deserve it." And they were like, "Nah, sorry, we'll just go a different direction." And they hired the guy from Oz. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, the guy who ends up being, and yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, Morpheus is cuck. So tell me I'm wrong. So yeah, he ends up being that guy, and then I think he went a bit crazy and then threatened the Wachowskis because they tried to force him into a contract, and he was like, "I ain't doing that shit." And he's like, in the recorded phone call, he's like, "If you send anybody to my house, I'm gonna fuck you up, and then I'm gonna come and fuck you guys up," to the Wachowskis. And then he was trying to renegotiate, and then he got arrested in a boardroom or some shit like that by the police for making threats to the studio. And I think something about linking him to terrorism. I don't know. The guy was fucked. He did a self-made documentary.
I saw that. It's a really odd watch.
He's a strange dude. Something Leong Chung or whatever his name is. Something Chung.
I don't know his full name.
He's a strange fellow, and he could have been. The thing is, I liked him in that role. I thought
he's good
in that
role. He's
role.
good in the role. He makes the role work.
As an operator, he was all right, but then why he decided to get greedy? He just got that whole the dude from Iron Man.
Terrence Howard.
Brody.
Oh, Terrence Howard.
Yeah, he got the same fucking thing. Like, had Terrence Howard just played his hand correctly, he'd be fucking a millionaire right now. But instead, he's a 500,000 there.
I mean, what Terrence Howard did is he wouldn't take the pay cut with the thought of the future potential.
Right.
Yeah, he didn't play the long game. Yeah,
exactly. No, didn't play the long game.
He didn't play the long game, and that's what. And like Don Cheadle, he was like, "I'll play the long game." Shit.
Well, the thing is, I kind of look at that situation with like Terrence Howard. I look at it from the point of view of like, it's a different situation because with the guy from the Matrix, I was like, to this day, I don't know what his name is. Right?
Yeah.
I know
something Chung, yeah.
Yeah, right. So I'm like, he was not the guy, period. So like, all them making threats and all of that, I'm like, look, they offered you some money, you should have took that money and been cool. Terrence Howard is different. Terrence Howard is an Oscar winner. He's been in Oscar-winning films. Sorry, right? He's been in Oscar-winning films. He's got TV shows. He's been around the block. He's a known name within the realm of Hollywood, right? Obviously, he's not freaking Tom Cruise, but he's an actor that is of some high stature. So him not wanting to take a pay cut is different. And we say about, he should have played the long game. But we got to remember, we're talking about what, 2010?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we're talking about 2008 is Iron Man 1, 2010 is Iron Man 2. Like, so him being like, nah, I want this money. I want the same money that you gave me before for this. He didn't know that there was going to be a third Iron Man and an Avengers film and, a Civil War. And he didn't know what Rhodey was going to become.
I mean, did the guy just not stay for the end of the credits? Or?
I was going to say.
Yeah,
I mean, I would have known right there.
Well, so Terrence Howard, he got Oscar nominated in 2006 for Hustle and Flow.
Yeah.
That's it.
And coming in with
no, but what I mean is when I say Oscar,
he's not a winner. He's not a winner of an Oscar. He's
no, but that's why
being nominated is big, though.
It, right?
Yeah,
he's been nominated for an Oscar. He's been in 2 films that have won Oscars, right? Because he was in
Matrix won an Oscar as well.
He was in Hustle and Flow, which won an Oscar. He was in Crash, which won an Oscar. What other film did you mention, just Joe?
Matrix won an Oscar as well.
Mm-hmm.
Visual effects Oscar.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
Where the fuck are you talking about? We're not talking about that.
Yeah, but Terrence Howard was
should
in
be, but we're not.
films and Oscar-nominated films. He's an Oscar-nominated actor in Oscar-winning films. So, him and at the time, you have to remember as well. We now look at it. Yeah, you only got that money because Robert Downey Jr. was coming in off of a not great, press coverage. But that's not going to save you in the long run. Like, as soon
could you imagine living in a world?
Hustle and Flow was an Oscar winner for music.
Yeah.
Could you imagine living in a world where Will Smith was Neo?
No.
There wouldn't be an Matrix 2 and 3.
And then we would have got Val Kilmer as Morpheus.
Oh, was it? Was that what it was?
That was it. That was it. It was like if Will Smith was Neo, Val Kilmer was on his way for Morpheus. And Val Kilmer actually mentioned, he was like, yeah, I was almost Morpheus, man. But then Will Smith didn't do the movie, so they didn't want Val.
Just imagine the world that we would live in right now.
Have you heard Will Smith's story about it?
Yeah, I saw the YouTube.
But you know what? It makes sense.
He's like, these guys come in. He's like, they didn't really have a pitch. They didn't have a script. They didn't, and he was just like, it was just sound some weird sci-fi shit. And he's like, no, I'm good. So it was a really bad pitch.
But he also said yes to the Wild Wild West.
Don't even get me started on that movie.
Exactly.
I'm sure.
Satch knows what's up, innit?
I'm sure that when Warner Brothers came to him for the Wild Wild West, like whether they had a good pitch or a bad pitch, you have to remember it was a TV show before it was a film. So
this is what they said. They said you're going to be in a film with Calvin Klein, and he went Calvin Klein, and he went not that Calvin Klein. And he was like, oh, and he goes, which one? He goes, you ever seen French Kiss? That one. Okay.
Physical Wanda.
He goes,
I'm sure that
Kenneth Branagh is going to be in it. Oh, okay.
He gets to fight giant spider.
Oh my god, yeah, he is in it.
With the freaking what's the name with Wild Wild West, I'm sure that they were just like, yeah, look, you're gonna be in the film, you'll be the star, you're gonna get to bed, a woman or two, and okay,
and you get to do a music video with Cisco, and you're fine.
Do a music video with Drew Hill, it'll be like in the wild.
But imagine in that universe, in an alternate universe, Nicolas Cage became Superman, and Will Smith was Neo. Imagine the universe, the galaxy, the alternate universe that is in. Wow. But yeah, no, Matrix 4. I tell you what, I don't know if maybe I said it on this podcast with somebody else, but I was like, I think I'm done with the Matrix. I don't need the allure of the Matrix, especially the first one, was like the graphical like leap that it was, the stunts, the fighting. I mean, even now the stunt, but that the shit they did in that movie, like now you're watching, you're like, yeah, that looks sick. Like just how you can watch Terminator 2 and you're like, yeah, that's still fucking sick.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but after that, like, let's be honest, really and truly, did you kind of give a shit about the second and third one?
I did. I liked the second one. The second
Yeah,
one,
I didn't.
I liked the main thing I liked about the second one was the architect.
Yeah,
but that's because you're a smart guy, and then you felt smart around dumb people, because you could watch that, and everyone was like, "What the?" Do you know what the best thing for me about the Matrix 2 was? The best thing. Oh, sorry, my fingers in front of the camera. The best thing for me about the Matrix 2 was the Video Music Award, MTV Video Music Award
with Will Ferrell.
It was Will Ferrell,
Justin
Timberlake, and Jason Scott Lee. Jason Scott Lee? Jason.
Stifler.
No.
Stifler.
What's his
Stifler.
fucking name?
William Scott.
Sean William
Scott.
There we go.
That's it. And I was like, those three guys, they made that for me. And I was like, that for me was, because you remember the good old days when award shows would actually do funny shit like that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what they did. And I was like, for me, that was more interesting than the entire of that movie.
I liked that movie. That's
Nah, do you know,
you can tell the artistic thing in Joe, right? Because he likes Prometheus. He needs to know where things are created, how they're created. He is the architect.
The thing is, but hold on, the thing is that film explains it all, but explains absolutely nothing at the same time to the layman. So it's like it's only made for people who know.
It's like my missus.
Like every woman. It's like, can you not read my mind? I'm mad. Can't read my mind? Well, fuck you. But I don't know. I just have an issue with the second and the third one as well. Like
the third one, the third one, I'll definitely give you. But the second one,
they haven't aged well. They have not aged well whatsoever.
No, that car chase is still probably one of the best car chases I've ever seen.
Fine. The car chase is great, but it was also like a real lesson in like spending money that you don't need to spend. It's like, we could just do this in CG. No, let's just build 4 miles of highway instead. Like,
well,
4 miles.
Highway. I appreciate that.
No,
the money's literally on the screen. Hold on a minute. Fuck that. Hold on 1 second. I'm going to talk
about Christopher Nolan now and how he does things practically. Is that what you're about to do?
No.
Is that the card you're about to whip out?
Can you let me talk? They just made a Star Wars film that cost $200+ million, and I saw some of the money on screen on that, but ultimately it's a non-movie. It doesn't work. It works for the most part, but it breaks a lot of the older films. It just breaks them.
And so does the Matrix.
No. All those films, all those 3 films, that they wrote it. If that's their story, fair enough.
But they break their own rules.
How?
Neo is supposed to be the one.
He's not.
So at the entire point of the film, hold on.
Have you not understood this film yet?
No, I understand it, but that is not how it. I understand it. I'm aware of it, but that is not how it is explained in that movie. They explain it in the movie. In the first film, Neo is the one. He controls the Matrix. He was born into the Matrix, which technically he is. But I know what you're saying. He isn't. But technically he is, because they're trying to say that fucking Agent Smith is the one and resetting the Matrix and all this stupid bullshit. They don't actually talk about it in the second one. The first one is like, he's the one, he controls shit, motherfucking can stop bullets, and he's the bad motherfucker. Then all of a sudden, we have these fucking ghost dudes floating around who look like the twin dudes, them dickheads, and this fucking Vudge, the French guy who wipes his ass with silk.
Do you know what? This explanation of the second film, they should put on the back of the book. there's this guy that went into this thing, and then there's this guy, and
what they should do?
Boom,
They should
5 out of 5.
They should let me watch your movie, right? And then put my description of a film, you know, with those little leaves,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
that
yeah.
they put on movies, a little stamp, and I'll just say like, for example, I'll say like, I don't know, this film's really shit. Some guy from London, you know.
That's what I think.
Do
That's
that.
Kevin Smith wanted to do that to one of his films. He said he wants to have
Yes,
all
yeah,
of
yeah, he did.
all of
But
these.
that's probably where I got some bi-curious girl from college. Yeah, that was it. That's what he went. But what I'm saying is, like, that's what they should do with my shit, because that film, the second one, is retarded. Like, I'll tell you why it's
disagree.
retarded. Do you know? You can disagree all you want. Here's the stupid thing about that movie. Why does Neo fight all those guys and then fly off? Why doesn't he just fly off?
Because he's trying to prove a point. He's trying to prove that
What point is he trying to get proved? That he can get bum rushed by a bunch of Agent
No, it's his.
Smiths
It's
and bad
it's,
CGI?
No, it's at his point. It's his belief system that he's the one. He should be able to fight all these guys with no problem. He couldn't. He figured out he couldn't do. That's what's called a brawl, a Brelly brawl. It's called
a shit. The whole people watch that movie, and every time I watch that film, it's the one question I go: why doesn't he just fly away? He can fly. The dickhead can fly.
No, what the thing is, right? If someone told you you're the one, and you know you can take Agent Smith on,
bro, I'm flying. Why would I bother flying if I'm the one, bro?
You know what, Leo? I gotta say that's actually interesting. Good point. Like if somebody said to me, if somebody said you're the one and you can be like nobody could be an agent before you, and you battered the shit out of like 3 of them, and then there's like the one who I actually did beat the shit out of turns up, and I'm like, you, bro, I'll kick your ass again. You come out and there's 2 of you. That's all right.
But hold on, he establishes at the beginning of that movie that they've already had upgrades.
Yeah, but he's not.
They catch his punch. So he's like upgrades.
Yeah, sure. Those are those agents.
Yeah.
Let's have a discussion about this at another point, man.
Yeah,
because
we're
coming up to 3 hours. Yeah, go for it. I'm gonna let you guys talk.
In regards to the Matrix now, right? In regards to the Matrix 4, I think there's a big problem with the Matrix films. Not story-wise or nothing. Simple fact is this: the first Matrix came out in 1999. It came out at a point when we were just about to hit the year 2000. People were like, everything was up in the air about what technology is going to be like, what's going to happen here, what's going to happen there.
Millennium, everything's going to crash.
All of that. So it came out it was the perfect moment for a film regarding technology and alternate worlds and the dark side of technology and all of that. It came out at a perfect moment. And the film is rather good. So that kept it afloat. Mm-hmm. The second and the third one came out after the year 2000 has come, the millennium came, nothing crashed, nothing broke, planes didn't fall out of the sky, in that realm, in that way that, there was no grand whole world global destruction.
Yeah, they should have waited for 2020, eh?
Yeah, right? So it was
the only thing I got destroyed was that film's reputation, but go on.
Yeah, so all of it came out, and it came out with a greater hype and greater, spectacle, and it was made, and it didn't do as well. But but it was like, okay, you've reached a point, you've concluded. You had your time in the sun, you had your time in the spotlight, you've done what you needed to do, it's done, leave it there. I think really and truly, we're in a point now where nostalgia, more than anything else, nostalgia is the number one genre in film and TV. Is nostalgia. Absolutely. It doesn't matter if it's sci-fi nostalgia, if it's action, adventure, it's nostalgia. Stranger Things doesn't work if people from the 80s don't watch The Thing, don't watch Goonies, don't play Dungeons and Dragons. If those things if the nostalgia of those things didn't draw back, we don't get Stranger Things. So we're in that point where people are loving off nostalgia. So everybody in the industry, whether it's people of artistic vision and creation, like the Wachowskis or whatever, or whether it's big time film studios, everyone is basically digging into their crates, dusting off the old classics, and they'll be like, what didn't do well but made us, but was a cult classic? Ooh, me make it. What did super well that we can make a sequel now 20 years later? Ooh, dust it off, make it. And that's all that's happening. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm sure that they probably feel like, we're artists and we want to revisit this story and tell it. I'm like, nah, homie, you want some money.
It's just one of them that's doing it.
Right? It's just one of them.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just like Lana that's directing it.
Well, that's the thing. Is that I'm just like, look, Lana, you want some money, and you want to make as much money as you can with spending as little as possible. And what makes you spend as little as possible? Revisiting an old franchise that everyone loves. Everyone's got, because even if you hate the second and the third film, that first film is so good, people will keep coming back. Even when you look at Aliens, the whole Alien franchise, right? It doesn't matter your reception to Alien 3 or your reception to Alien Resurrection. It doesn't matter. You've got Aliens. You have Alien. You've got those two films that you could always go back to, no matter how bad whatever is comes after them is. So you can get a Prometheus, and you can get an Alien Covenant, and you can, it's like that's just how it goes, right? Regardless of how good or bad those films are, Alien Isolation came out as this game, and what did they do? They set the game right after Alien 1, right after the first Alien.
Mm-hmm.
Predator Hunting Grounds is a new game that comes out in this year. It's out. Yeah. Bro, they got Arnold Schwarzenegger to reprise his role as Dutch. Right?
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Nostalgia is the key. So
that's not gonna save that game though. It's shit.
Really? A lot of people said it was good.
Yeah, those people are fucking misguided, man. Seriously. Before I
bought it the other day, I actually messaged Ibs and was like, bro, Ibs, tell me if this game is good before I buy it. And Ibs was like, shit, don't buy it. And I was like, oh, man, I really need to play it.
Mate, yeah, they had the beta out, and me and Travis and someone else, Travis and Simon, we downloaded it straight away because of the name, right? Like, first-person shooter. I was like, how bad could it be? And then you got to understand, I worked on AVP, free for Sega, right, when we were making it, and I saw how good that was before the final product came out, and it was shit. And
I like that game, but yeah, go on.
Yeah, but I was like, well, it can't be as bad as what we did, what I worked on, so let's give it a go. So I gave it a go. Yeah, man, no, visuals are shit because it was obviously done by some budget company, and then fucking, oh man, playing as a Predator was cool, but when you're a Marine, it plays like arse, man. You know what I mean? And I'm like, this is competing against Call of Duty.
Here's the thing.
What they should have done. This is what they should have done.
Right,
they should have just went.
We're getting off track here.
I know we're going off track. Let me have my tangent.
Release it in chapters. Episode 100, 101, and 102.
Let me have my tangent. God damn it! This is what they should have done with that game. They just should have called the fucking Infinity Ward guys and went, "Hey, Call of Duty. Okay, let's just put a DLC with Predator in there. Boom, done. Get your fix." Rant over. Anyway, moving along. Matrix 4, do I think it'll be good? Well, I have no opinion. I'll watch it. If it's good, it's good. If it's shit, well, bargain bin. But that's it. Be done.
What my spin on what Neil was saying is that I think the Wachowskis want to re-establish themselves, and I think by doing a new Matrix film, if it's good, it gives them power and glory. If it doesn't,
well, you mean just one of them? Because Lilly just announced she's
sure.
Not,
yeah. I understand that, Sach.
So I understand that, Sach. I know it's on the list of questions.
If the film does well, they get free reign again. If it doesn't, it's the status quo. They'll be in the movie jail for however many years again. It's just a pick of the Matrix was their most popular thing they've done. Mm-hmm. There's an Amy Winehouse thing there.
Oh yeah, it's my missus. She's got a.
Okay. Sorry, that really distracted me.
Amy Winehouse Matrix.
We've got Amy Winehouse poster in it.
Right. Yeah, that's the first album cover. Anyway, so yeah, I think that's what they were planning. That's what Lana wants to do. It's like it works out for Warner Brothers if it does well, and it works out for them if it does well. If it doesn't do well, then Warner Brothers can just tell them to do something else. You're a movie jail. You have to make these films like they do with everyone else. I don't think there's any.
You know what you should do, by the way, Joe. Just because I know we're going to end it soon, you should just do an episode of a podcast, like a side thing, just called like Zedos Bants, and just have us all just chat shit like we just did. Because
or
that's way funnier. I'd rather argue. I don't mind talking points, but I'd rather just argue with you about how you're wrong about the Matrix.
Look, I don't care who likes who doesn't like it. It's just it's something I like to watch. But
no, that's fine. I'm sure you watch it. It's fine, but I just don't go around being incorrect. That's all I'm saying.
everyone goes around being incorrect. Everyone's incorrect every day they're alive,
except for moi. Okay, especially on the.
If you're alive, you're incorrect.
Just in regards to Matrix 4, Wachowskis just don't have the credibility.
Precisely.
They don't have the credibility anymore. Unless you know Sense8, you don't really know the projects they've been doing since the Matrix. And like
Speed Racer, right? Yeah, I haven't seen Speed Racer. Is that any good?
You know,
Speed Racer's good.
Yeah, for the past like 15 years or something, you wouldn't really have heard of them. Them coming back to do this movie, you're like, all right, you know, we know who they are because Wachowskis was synonymous with the Matrix in terms of that brand. Because you know that made them. Now it's kind of irrelevant. So the other one who's not being a part of this is she's doing a few TV shows and stuff like that. You know, where this one, I think it's Lana, the one who's doing the movie. Can't remember which one. She, you know, she's writing, producing, and directing. You know, so it's all encompassing again. And yeah, that will be a make or break because if it doesn't succeed, then there's nothing else. Otherwise, it's a chance for her to make that name again. So it's a watch this.
One thing is that they're trying to bank on the fact that it's been 20 years, so there are a lot of people who have not seen or heard or cared about Matrix. Could get them in. The other thing is, Keanu Reeves is coming off a hot streak.
Right? Yeah. That's going to be another plus as well. Keanu Reeves is hot property.
Exactly.
He's in the video game coming out this year. He's in the John Wick series.
Cyberpunk,
Bill and
Ted is coming out too.
Bro, you know what? If anybody, and I'm just gonna sort of leave it, me personally, gonna leave it on this note. If anybody wants to watch or really enjoy the Matrix the way, if you want a bit more of an expanded universe, just go play Path of Neo on the Xbox or whatever. That's a great game, and it ends great because it's the Wachowskis addressing the viewer and break. Have you guys played? Who's played it apart from Neo?
I've played it.
Yeah,
played what?
Yeah, you Path of Neo.
No, I've never played it.
Right, okay. Dude, seeing as you love the other ones in the explanation...
I've played it. It plays like dog shit.
What do you mean?
It's a terribly made game.
Oh, yeah. It's a horrible game, but it explores the mythos.
I know, I can't...
The mythos.
I got enough with the Second Renaissance.
You know a way around that? YouTube cutscenes.
Yeah.
I don't even think I could do that.
Or just ask me to come play it on Twitch, and I'll play it for you.
I didn't know you were on Twitch.
Yeah, I'm on Twitch. I keep getting messages.
Well, I'm on Twitch, bro.
Well, look, this has been fun, guys, but this is going to be one hell of an ass thing to edit. Thank you, everyone, for
edit.
Let it ride,
Joe. Let it ride, man. Let it ride. Just take the bit about the PRIACY. And then just the rest of it, just
well, anyway, I'm signing off. I'm going to say bye to you guys. Thanks for joining us. Where can we find you, Leo van-dammage?
You'll see me on Mr_Ovaltine Jenkins on Instagram, where you'll find me drawing shit on my iPad. And or you can go see my art at Ken's house, because apparently that's what Ken's doing with my shit. Apart from that,
I haven't printed it yet. It's just currently my screensaver.
Oh, is it? Which one you got?
The Turtles.
Oh, okay, yeah. Cool. And that's probably where you'll find me there mostly now. What's the Damage podcast is not really a thing, but the page is. So,
why not?
I'm just lazy. I've got other shit to do, man. I've got a kid. I've got fucking games I've got to play, and I got to organize this with people. Do you know what I mean? Like you saw this earlier. We were trying to organize it. Oh yeah, music guy can't do this thing, can't do this thing. Probably on lockdown. You can do any day. It's being fucking gay, and I just can't. I just can't be fucked to do that. I don't like to coordinate with people.
Right.
Whatever.
Fair enough. Well,
I'm lazy, innit? Whatever. Next.
Solomon, where can we find you? Thanks for joining us, by the
way. Thank you. Well, you can find me here, and you can find me at Sal F1 on any of the social medias, really.
Okay. Any of them? Any of the social medias?
Well, two of them that I tend to keep in touch with. The others are there, but I don't really look at the Instagram and the Twitter.
Okay. Good stuff, man. And Neil?
You can find me on Instagram at Shoot for Moon Pics. That's the word shoot, the number 4, Moon, and Pics, Pics. That's about it.
Okay. All right. Cool. Good stuff, dude. Good. Thanks for joining us again. And Ken, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter, just at Kenan at the moment. Should be able to find me via that.
Yeah, if you want to ask Ken anything about these, he's quite well versed in movies. So if you want to ask him anything about anything we talked about, feel free. If with Ken's permission.
Here's something to enjoy. If you can put yourself through the last few minutes of Rise of Skywalker, it's exactly the same ending as Endgame between Thanos and Iron Man and Palpatine and Rey. Go back and watch it.
Interesting. Okay.
I will never watch that film again on that note ever in my lifetime.
I can tell you where you can find Sacha. You'll find him on RussianBrides.com. Or you can phone him on 0845 50 50 50.
That's 50, oh my god, that's old school.
I know, bro.
That's old school. Sach, where can we find you?
RussiansPride.com. That's what he just said, right?
Fair enough. I'm going to leave that. If you say anything else, I'm going to cut that out. I'll just leave the Russian Bride speaking. Okay, and yeah, you could find me where this podcast is. So,
wow. Oh, by the way, speaking of podcasts, big thing happened with podcasts recently. Joe Rogan moved to Spotify.
I know.
What's that?
Allegedly $100 million deal with Spotify exclusivity. Wow, that's big.
I mean, they're going to have a video component, and I'm going to be watching that very carefully.
That's what the Wall Street Journal said. Allegedly, it was 100, north of 150.
Joe, I told you in the last episode, man. Reach out to Zoom. I told you. Zoom brought to you by Zoom.
And anyway, I'd like to thank our sponsor Squarespace. If you guys go on to squarespace.com/Zedos Gang, you'll see that we have not got any sponsorship by them, but definitely want some sponsorship, so come give us a call back.
Well, thanks for the plug, man.
No worries. All right, talk to you guys later.
Well, you're just like, yeah, see you later. I'm out.
Are we out? Oh no, do you wanna have a little chat of Ruski afterwards?
No, well, let me sign off. This is the Zedos Go podcast, and we're out.